Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning, my little truth bombers. Welcome to Twisted Strategies, where we follow all the twists and turns wherever they lead. I am your host, Elise, and hey, how was everybody's Sunday? How was everyone's Sunday? It was an eventful day last night, but I want to know how you guys are doing first. First and foremost, how are my little truth bombers doing on this beautiful Sunday morning? Hey, girl. Hey. Hi, Frank. Hey, Dougie, my friend. How you doing, girl? Space Coast, nice to see you. Long time no see, right? Saw you last night. Biker Daddy, nice to see you, my friend. I look like a bag of smashed asshole, not gonna lie. All right. I don't feel the best. I feel quite shitty. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna throw my hair up. I'm gonna put a headband in. I'm a mom, right? Mom hair. Don't care. It's Sunday. I'm gonna throw my hoodie on, my Justice for the Silenced hoodie, and I'm gonna do the show because I would not disappoint on bringing the Sunday show. That's for sure. Hold on. Sorry, that's my little asking me a question. Although she bypasses asking Daddy to ask me. Of course. No, yes, I feel like a bag of smashed assholes. So I literally was just like, meh, high ponytail, headband, sweatshirt, and I guess pretty much sums up the way I feel today. So I just feel like poop. I feel like poop. I think it's partly my medication, honestly, and it has like weird side effects like headaches and nausea and I already have like chronic fatigue and POTS, and so I feel like on top of it, the medication is also making me very like tired. If that makes sense, or like blah, almost like very low energy. I'll put it that way. Like very, very, very low energy. So I think it's partly the medication and partly because all the kids next door were sick and my kids play with their kids a lot. And they, like, one of them slept at our house on Friday night and my little slept at their house last night. And so they have all been sick. And so also us and the parents are friends. So we hang out with them too. So it's like everyone over there was sick. And I'm like, God, please don't give me the sick. I have no immune system because of all of my like health stuff. So I'm like, please, please, for the love of God, don't get me sick. My grandmother, spoonful of, just made me have like an instant flashback of when I was a kid. My grandmother used to sing this song, "Spoonful of sugar to get you to take your medicine." She would say, "Spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. Medicine go down." I kid you not. She would sing that song to us to convince us to take said medicine if it was with a spoonful of sugar. And my grandmother used to make a song out of everything. Bless her soul. I miss her so much. And if you're new here, you don't know that my grandparents pretty much helped raise me until I was in foster care. And my mom was a young mom, and my grandparents were literally like parents. Nanny McPhee, yeah, it was long before Nanny McPhee ever existed. I'm 39, so spoonful of honey. That's so funny, but that's where my brain. Good morning, Lynn. Instantly, Wallflower, my friend. Instantly went to was that song she used to sing. She would sing a song about Cheerios to get you to eat your Cheerios, and it went something like this: Cheerios, boom, 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 Cheerios. I still remember it to this day. And she had a song about buckling up in the car. I still remember it. Buckle up for safety, buckle up. That was, I kid you not. My grandmother would make a song out of everything to make it like fun so you'd want to do it. And at 39 years old, I still remember every silly song that she would sing to me to get me to do whatever it is that I needed to do as a kid. I must have been a stubborn kid. I'm a stubborn adult, so that doesn't shock me at all. Not even a little bit. Hey, Jane. So an interesting thing happened last night. I was listening to the Spaces that was on Twitter. And Twitter is having this problem in the last week, hey girl, where the spaces will like glitch out and like the sound will sound like someone muted themselves for however many seconds and in the middle of the person talking. So it'll be like, yeah, and yesterday I was, and then like 20, 30 seconds even of just dead air. And then it would come back and it was so obnoxious. But we're like, Spaces has been doing this for like a week now, right? And so I'm like, God damn. So I was going out and coming back in. And at one point it was actually, no, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. It was everyone. It was everyone. It was that Spaces has been doing this for like a week on X, but last night was really bad. Like it was like every 10 seconds or every 60 seconds it was doing it. And at one point it was kicking me out, right? It was anytime I would like try to pull up the comments, it would kick me out. Anytime like my phone went off a notification, it would kick me out. So that was frustrating. But then I started figuring out like when it started glitching like that, if I exited and re-entered, then it would fix. But it also became very tedious to keep doing that every 45 seconds to 60 seconds to, a minute and a half. So I was like, oh, this is obnoxious. So I'm like, maybe it's better, Mike from the Young Jerks had a stream going and I'm like, well, maybe it's better over on Mike's show. At first I thought maybe it's just my phone, right? Before I realized that I had been doing this for like a week. So at first I'm like, okay, maybe it's better over on Mike's stream. I know other people are saying they're having this issue too, but like, let me just try it, right? So after like the first space, which was like 2 hours, and they like restarted it to see if that would help, if that would make it better. And it did for like 3 minutes, but then it went back to like glitching out on us. But I hopped over to Mike from the Young Jerks and his chat, and I was like, let me see if Mike has, if it's better over there. So I hopped over to Mike's, and normally I wouldn't just pop into the chat, but I saw some of you there, and I was like, whatever. Like I don't want to cause problems for Mike. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't need that. But since Mike has sort of come out with his position on Aiden being a bully, I figured, all right, there's people in here I know, right, who know me, who watch me, so should be fine, right? And I pop in, and I'm like, oh hey everyone, and everything's fine, right? Everything's totally fine. And this amazing thing happened where people, I don't, some of these screen names, obviously, I do not know, right? I don't know some of those screen names of these people. And I pop in and I'm talking to some of you. And some of these screen names I don't know. I make a comment, something along the lines of, I wish people had listened, right? And I said this to you the other day, to you guys. Like, I wish people had listened. I spent the last 2 years trying to scream from the rooftops what a horrible human being he is. And I feel like, did anyone listen? I mean, I know some people did, but I have been questioning myself for like the last week. Like, did I do enough? Was there something else I could have done? Could I have done it a different way? And I've come to the conclusion that it didn't matter which way, right? Like which way. I wasn't speaking on the spaces. It was in Mike's chat, Mike from the Young Jerks' chat. But I, have come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter how I said it or did it. People weren't going to listen if they weren't going to listen. And it was simply because Aiden said, twisted dad, right? And so this amazing thing happened where some people over there were like, hey, I know it's late, Elise, but, we're seeing it now. And, I got a couple apologies, which was really nice from people. And Kimmy was in there and asked, like, hey, would you be willing to sort of go over what happened with you and him? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I've gone over it like extensively a million times, but I'm more than happy to sort of go over it again. Right. Right. So it's like, meh, meh. I will do it again. It's tedious for some of you, obviously, But there are new people that are sort of starting to see the light with him. And I want them to see the patterns. It's not just me either. Like, this goes far beyond me and before, you know? The way he does things behind closed doors, the way he plots it, and then the way he acts like, oh, he had nothing to do with anything when he, in fact, set the whole thing up so that he could look like the victim, is something that's extremely dangerous and manipulative. And it's something he's been doing for a very long time, long before Karen Read was ever a court case. And I'm going to, again, I mean, I've done this a million times, but I'm again, tell what happened with me and him. And I'm going to explain the patterns he had long before Karen Read's case ever was a thing, and the things that he's doing now that he has done every time he breaks up with a woman. Every single time. That's I pride myself on having a chat where people can coexist, right? There were only two in Mike's chat that were sort of trying to give me some sort of pushback for my opinion on Karen Read. And I'm like, listen, I am not here to argue with you, right? Not here for that. I'm not here to argue with you. You're not going to change my opinion on Karen Read. I'm probably not going to change yours. So respect the fact that my opinion is different, period. Insulting, getting nasty, like, what does that do but prove that it is in fact a cult that Aiden runs that's created vitriol and anger, right? There's no point. It hurts people. That's all it does. You don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you. But we also don't need to be cruel and mean and angry and disgusting towards one another. Go crazy in real life, text people, email people, like, cool, I bet in real life that you have friends or family that don't have the same religion or like the same color as you or have the same political beliefs, but you don't hate them. You don't try to destroy their lives. You don't spin things in a narrative. You don't manipulate audiences of hundreds of thousands of people or tens of thousands of people. That's not normal behavior. Why would it be normal here? If it's not accepted in real life, why should it be accepted here? We should not be accepting that this is normal. It's not normal, right? I have a serious pride in the fact that people in my chat can coexist with one another and still not believe the same thing. Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine being respectful and kind and respecting that someone else has a different opinion than you and you're just not going to agree, right? So instead of trying to destroy each other and burn everything to the ground by being mean and hateful, you just say, you know what? I agree to disagree with you. Cool. Let's move on to something else that maybe we have some common ground on, right? Because that's what normal adult people do. You know what I mean? He is a dangerous narcissist, and people are usually pretty good here. They are pretty good here. And I usually keep it on subscribers only lately, because when I don't, then you get the trolls that pop in or out, which just kind of like derails the chat and the show in general. So I really only want people that actually want to, listen, to hit that subscribe button. If you hit that subscribe button and you wait the amount of minutes it makes you wait just to comment something nasty, says more about you than it does me. Because most of these people commenting these nasty things don't know me. They don't know me from a hole in the wall. They don't know anything about me. All they were told was, twisted bad. He didn't say so. And then his twisted narrative of what he spun to be the truth, which is far from it. Now, if all of you remember, he started this journey thinking she was innocent, right? That's where I started this journey. A couple months in, I started getting non-public information that made me change my opinion in my mind. It was that and a culmination of red flags I had been getting, one of which I've been warning my friend very vocal about, which was Karen having an interest in trying to tell me what I could or couldn't talk about on my own show. As a very small YouTuber, the defendant in a murder trial shouldn't be trying to tell me what I should or shouldn't talk about on my show. Because whether it was favorable to her or not, it was part of the story. It was part of the case. So I'm not going to hide things because they don't make her look good, which, other creators did do. And that's just not, I'm not going to do that. So that was one of my very first red flags. And then we had Aiden, right? Where he got mad that I didn't lie for him and he got caught cheating on his wife and, 3 or 4 other women. And that became my fault because I didn't lie for him. Well, it's not my job to lie for him. That's my, credibility. That's my, no, he shouldn't be putting people in that position. Bottom line. Those are his actions, right? And he loves to place his actions on everyone else. And I will tell the exact story about how it happened. Funny enough, that very night, he yelled to me as I was leaving the Halloween party. And he goes, "Hey," and I'm already getting ready to get in the car. And I'm like, turn. And it's him. And I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "I'm going to come on your show." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I got in the car. Like that was the last interaction I had leaving the party. And then like 25 minutes later, I get a phone call from him on Facebook Messenger. But no worries, my friend. It's Sunday. You're totally allowed to take a nap, sleep, rest, do what you got to do, my friend. Hey, Matt. So the story is this. We went to the Halloween party. And before I could get to the Halloween party, I was with this woman that I had become friends with and a friend of hers and me and my husband. We all went in one car and we got a hotel for the night so that we didn't have to drive back, right? And so we are literally pulling into the hotel and I get a call from Lauren. Those of you who don't know, Lauren is someone who dated Aiden for a while, and previous to the Karen Reed stuff, him and hers videos and or pictures got leaked onto the internet, mainly because he shared them with people unsolicited, and those people then shared it, so on and so forth, whatever. So nonetheless, she called me. I'd been nothing but kind to Lauren. I thought of her as a friend. And she called me and she was bawling on Facebook, and she was calling to, I couldn't get like the video on. So she called me on the phone and she's bawling. And I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't hear anything you're saying. And she's bawling her eyes out. And she's like, I'm like, what is the matter, Lauren? What happened? And this is exactly what she told me. She said she was dressed and ready to go to the Halloween party. And she gets a call from Aiden. And Aiden asks her, "Hey, are you going to the Halloween party?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to the Halloween party. I bought a ticket and I'm ready to go. Why?" And he goes, "Well, who are you even going to meet there anyway? Like, who do you even know that's there anyway?" And she's like, "Deanna, Elise." And he's like, funny enough, he goes, "Who's Deanna?" Right? This is exactly what Lauren told me. She's like, "He started acting like he knew who these people were when he absolutely knew who these people were." Right? And so she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, I called to talk to you about something, and I'm just going to say it. I am bringing Lindsay with me to the Halloween party." And now let me back up. Previous to this, for the last month before this, people online had been saying that Aiden was seen with someone coming out of a restaurant, that he had been seen with someone else on a different date. And I remember sitting at a lunch with Lauren and a couple other people on the day of her court date, which, by the way, I chose to go to hers and not Aiden's as support for her. And so, she's like, do you think it's true? Do you think he's lying to me? And I'm like, well, what did he say? And now this is before she calls me that night. And she's like, well, he said not to listen to the trolls. Lauren, don't listen to the trolls. Lauren, they're just trolls, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, you got to go with what your gut says. Like, is anything different? Is he more, distant? You know what I mean? And she's like, I don't know. I have a feeling something's not right. It hasn't been right since September. Now, when I tell you she hit the nail on the head when she said September, later on we'll find out that she hit the nail on the head. It was September. But so whatever, right? Now, fast forward back to me being on the phone with her before the Halloween party, right? In the hotel. And she's like, and he tells me he's going to bring her. And my immediate response was, so you lied to me and told me not to listen to the trolls, and you are seeing somebody else. And his response was, we're not going to talk about it. So wait a second. You just called her to tell her you're bringing another girl to the Halloween party you knew she was going to. When you lied to her, let her give you money, by the way, after you got out of jail so you could bring your kids somewhere, nice. Or after he got arrested. Sorry, it wasn't after he got out of jail. It was after he got arrested. She sent him like $100 or something like that so he could do something with his kids, as if he didn't have enough money coming in. Anyway, at that point, right? So I go, and she's crying the whole time, and I feel awful. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. So you're telling me that he's coming to this party tonight with another girl and called to tell you that, but then didn't want to talk to you when you needed to ask questions? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Right? So I feel awful. And I'm like, Lauren, come anyway. Right? Come anyway. We're going to be here. Like, the best revenge is to come and be like, F him. F him, screw him, whatever. And she's like, no, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I'm like, just come anyway, Lauren. Like, just come anyway. Right? Now, she had called about 3 or 4 other people, only one of which was at that party, Deanna. She had called my friend Kyle and a couple other people, but they weren't at the party. And so, a couple people knew what was going on. And so she didn't want to come. I said, you know what? How about we get brunch tomorrow after all of this, make sure you're all right. And like, whatever, just wanted her to know like someone was there for her. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, all right. So whatever, we go to the party, right? We go to the party and, I'm streaming most of the time. And then finally I stop streaming and I'm sort of just talking to people, dancing, having a drink, whatever. And Lindsay tries to talk to me a couple times and I kind of act like I can't hear her just because like I don't want this problem, right? Like I don't want to deal with this thing. And I don't want her asking me about it, right? And so at one point we're like in a circle standing there and her and Aiden come over. And now I'm kind of like stuck, right? And she's like, oh, hey, Elise. And I'm like, hi. And she's like, I just wanted to, thank you for the story you did about my friend. And I'm like, oh, and in my head, I'm like, maybe that's what she wanted the whole time. Now I feel like an asshole, right? I had done a story about someone she had known that passed away. And I had done, a stream on it. And so I was like, oh, no problem. Like I was, happy to do it. And it was a good story. And I wanted to talk about who he was as a person, not what people perceived, And so at that point, she goes, Aiden said something about having to go out to his car to get something. And he would be right back. Right. So expected him back any second. Right. And she turned to me and she goes, hey, where's Lauren? I want to speak with her. And so immediately in my mind, I'm like, why would she be asking for Lauren unless she already knew what happened? Like what? And so I started thinking to myself, like, she has to know what happened. Otherwise, why would she be asking me where Lauren is and saying that she wants to talk to her privately now? Right. So in my mind, I automatically assume, wrongly, but I automatically assume that like he must have told her what happened or she was there when he called Lauren or whatever. Right. I just assumed. And I'm like, well, Lauren's not coming. Right. I tried to get her to come anyway, but, she just found out you existed an hour ago. So, she doesn't want to come. And Lindsay looked back at me and she goes, wait, what? And I'm like, oh my God. Right. At that point, I'm like, oh my God, she didn't know. Right. And it's like, cool. Now, if she asks me a question, though, I have to answer it correctly. And I do. Right. Because now it's out. Right. And I'm not a fucking liar. it's also not my job to lie for him, right? Don't put yourself in these positions, and don't fucking put other people in these positions. It's really shitty to do that to begin with, you know? It is. And so, you know, she asks a few questions. I answer them to the best of my ability. And that's that, right? And then it fast forward to the end of the night, and he's like, you know, I'm gonna come on your show. And I'm like, cool, right? Cool, great, wonderful, fantastic. And I get in the car and we leave. We go and we decide that we're gonna actually go to a Chinese food restaurant or a Mexican restaurant. It was a Mexican restaurant. I think that was like kind of across the way from the hotel. And we had a designated driver. Our friend Bobby was designated driving us. Thank God he doesn't drink, so he kindly drove us to the hotel, from the hotel, and you know, back after the party, and we all sat down and we were eating. Right, so I'm in the freaking you know, place eating and having a drink, and my phone goes off on Facebook and it's eating. I'm like, what the fuck? Right, like what the fuck? So I get the phone, and I can't hear anything inside. Like it's spotty. It's like in and out, in and out. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna step outside. So I step outside and I answer it, and he's like, well, what did you tell Lindsay? And I'm like, what do you mean? Right? Like, and at this point, I wouldn't assume that she would have automatically went back and told him that, like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, at this point, I'm a little bit trying to downplay it. Like, what do you mean, dude? Like, what's the issue? And you would think, like, it's your problem. Why are we making this my problem, right? Like, you should have been doing what you were doing to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, y'all are putting me in the middle of something I don't want to be in the fucking middle of, right? But I'm also not going to lie, because that's my credibility. That's you know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. It's not my job to do that for him. And so bottom line is they argue, right? They're arguing about, you know, the last time he hooked up with Lauren, which was when he was talking to Lindsay. And then Lindsay gets a hold of Lauren at some point. They speak, and Lauren tells her, you know, that, you know, they did hook up, right? And at that point, Lindsay knows that he's a liar and I'm not a liar. And so then what happens, though, is funny. Aiden calls Lauren after he realizes that Lindsay talked to Lauren, and he screams. Lauren told me, screams and yells at him. And this is what Lauren told me. Kid you not, this is what she told me. She said he called me screaming and yelling, demanding that I call Lindsay back and lie to her and tell her that I was wrong and I was lying about the last time we hooked up. And these were his words. This is what he told Lauren, and I'm going to tell you why it's significant in a minute. He said, you are trying to sabotage my relationship with Lindsay, and you're going to fix this right now. You're going to go back to her and you're going to tell her you were lying, even though Lauren wasn't lying. Right? He definitely has a playbook, and it is a tired ass one. You and LTG are 100% right, you know? Wait, I didn't see it. Where? Oh, it didn't happen today. All right, good. And I'm like, wait a second, I can't see it. So hold on, I know I'm behind in the comments here, so. Okay. Let's scroll down here. Well, believe you know what? It's probably better if you just listen to it today, or listen to it, because in the recording it doesn't break up and kick in and out like it was when we were trying to listen to it. So I literally had to go back some this morning and try to listen to the parts that were like cutting off from last night, which were a lot, you know? So, okay, hold on. Yeah, in and out, right? In and out and in and out and in and out. And yeah, definitely shout out to Mike for putting it up on YouTube for the people that don't have X. They very much appreciated that. And when the first spaces stopped and they were waiting to do the second one, people were requesting to me like, well, he didn't put the second one up yet. And I'm like, you get some requests to put that second one up. So he's already had it up at that point, you know. But yeah, we don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. So you just let us know if something like that happens. You know what I mean? Point it out, because I don't always catch everything either. I'm looking at, you know, this screen with you guys on it, and then I have this screen with like the analytics on it, and like the, you know, other YouTube, and then I have other tabs that I'm opening and closing to get you guys information and to check information. I'm looking at my phone, I'm doing emails and whatnot. So I don't always catch everything either. So just, you know, always, if you see something that makes you uncomfortable, you know, we don't see it, definitely let us know, because we're only human, guys. We're only human. All right. So back to the story, right? So no, I don't think it was you. I don't think it was. Even here's the problem with text, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can't hear tone, right? So there's no tone in text. So if you say something, somebody might read it in a completely different way than what you said it, and that's my problem with text. That's why I kind of like voice notes. You know, I prefer like the voice notes. Okay, but so this is what he tells Lauren to lie to Lindsay. You're going to fix this. You are sabotaging my relationship with Lindsay. And he screams and yells at Lauren and tells Lauren that she's going to fix this. She's going to fix this, and she's going to fix it now. Now, in comes Kara, right? Another girl that he was seeing at the same time as all of this. And she finds out through someone I know that I have accidentally outed him, and he was seeing all these people. And someone I knew didn't even know that she was seeing him. And so from him, she finds out accidentally that Aiden's seeing all these other women. And she's like, wait a second, hold on. Huh? And so my friend is like, wait, what? You were seeing him too? Like, oh my fucking God. So I get a text message while I'm streaming. And it's like, hey, heads up, someone's about to enter your chat, another girl. And I'm like, well, I don't even know what this means at this point, right? And I'm live streaming. So even in that live streaming, you can kind of see my face where I'm just kind of like looking at the chat. I'm like, it's like seconds before, you know, Kara kind of pops in and is like, sort of outs Aiden in her own way. Like, you know, yeah, he did this and this and this and needs to come back, right? Well, after that stream, Lindsay saw that, right? And so they get in contact as well. Kara gets in contact, Lindsay gets in contact with Kara. However it worked, I forget. But they got in contact with each other and talked on like Facebook or something. And so, you know, the truth is coming out. Now, at the same time, he calls Lauren and demands that she lie to Lindsay because she's, quote, sabotaging his relationship. He finds out that Kara came clean as well. And he calls her and he threatens her and he screams at her and he says, you're going to call Lindsay back and you're going to tell her you lied because you're trying to sabotage my relationship. Likes that word now, sabotage. So last night I'm listening to this Spaces and I hear Meredith say that, you know, she had tried to break up with him a bunch of times, which, by the way, is another pattern. Just let me get to it, but I'll go back to it, right? And she says, and one time he tells me that if I, you know, basically like break up with him or leave him, like I'm sabotaging his legal thing because I can't do this, this, and this if I'm not with him, right? And in that moment, my brain went, something he likes to use, that word sabotage. It's a way to try to make someone feel guilty or bad and not do what you don't want them to do. Manipulation tactic, if you will. A way to wield control over someone. Well, you're doing this, this, and this, and how dare you, right? No. No. You know? No, that's not a thing. Like, but that is a pattern. You know? You are never aggressive. I don't think I've ever seen you be aggressive anyway, my friend. But to me, it's just freaking insanity, right? He uses this, you know, word sabotage in a manipulative way. So if we go back over time, you start to realize that, hold on a second, he uses this word manipulated, right? This word sabotage, to manipulate people into not doing something that they're telling him they're going to do. Oh, feel bad. You're trying to, quote, sabotage me in this way or this way if you leave me, right? Here's another fun pattern for you, right? His pattern of women trying to leave him is right out in the open. And again, this goes way back to before Karen Reed ever existed. If you go back to when Leah wanted to end things with him, he threatens to unalive himself a few times. That obviously makes her stick around. At one point, he tries to put a blame on her that she needs to let him move in with her. Brings a bag over and everything. And she's like, nah, bro, you're not fucking, like, no, you are not living here. Like, no, we are already done. It's not what? No. And so this is a pattern of his where these women try to break it off with him. And he uses these techniques like saying he's going to hurt himself, or telling them that they're just trying to sabotage him or set him up, which guilts them or manipulates them into staying longer until they can figure out now how to safely leave this wacky ass relationship, right? And so this is something that goes way back before Karen Reed and every woman that he has dated, right? And so here's the thing. Lindsay tried to leave a bunch of times. She said she needed space at one point, and what would he do? Oh, that's right, incessantly call. In the same way that he would incessantly call Kara, or he would incessantly call Leah over and over and over and over and over to get you to answer the fucking phone, right? Then he would call screaming and yelling and demanding you do this, this, and this, because if you don't do this, this, and this, everyone's going to believe him anyway. And it doesn't matter what he says. People just believe him. These are the same phrases he often uses, that he will make them Turtleboy famous. He will make them Kate Peter famous. In the last 2 years, he's told people he's going to make them Lindsay famous. Like, this is the pattern of behavior where it's not something new. It's something old that was long before Karen Reed. It is something he has been doing for an extremely long period of time. I think the problem that people have specifically is, even though some people are starting to realize what he is and how he operates, and in the way that he manipulates and spins and lies, that I noticed they're having a hard time sort of understanding that it's not just dealing with him. It's dealing with him and his 17 different personalities. And there's no easy way to get out of this relationship with him, right? You have to try to figure out how you're going to get out of this relationship with him while also appeasing him, knowing that he's going to harass your life, send his minions to do his dirty work in very underhanded, sneaky ways that he can then try to claim he's the victim, which is something he does all the time. He'll make other people do X, Y, and Z behind closed doors, even make accounts that are fighting with each other to make it look like, use sock accounts to leak things on purpose, and then feign ignorance to, no, I have no idea who that account is. He does very underhanded, manipulative things, and then uses an excuse to go full nuclear on you. Right? That's the whole point, is he finds a way around it. Every single woman he's broken up with, he cannot just let it be and let it go. And I have heard more than once from more than one woman, and I heard Meredith say it last night, that he was never going to let me go. Right? I've heard that more than once. He was never going to let me go. Although Meredith said, like, until he thought it was his idea. I don't think anybody else has ever thought that before, or at least they haven't told me they thought that before. Let it be his idea. But they had no idea how the hell they're going to get out of this relationship, right? He's blackmailing them. He is threatening them. He'll lie. He'll scheme. He'll do all of that, right? Now, I think where people are having a hard time understanding is they fully understand that he can do this, right, to people, and that he has done this to people. It's the problem that they're having is correlating the fact that he's done it to free care and read people. They can easily believe that, right? They're like, yeah, all these free care and read people he did it to. The problem that they're seeming to have is that they're not understanding that it's not just free care and read people he did this to. I'm not a free care and read person, okay? And it's me and a bunch of other people that he did it to. And so it's easy, though, for people to sort of just be like, well, she's an anti, so, who cares what he said about her? Or be like, well, I don't believe he did that to anti people. They're just bad. Which is such a small-minded way of thinking. Manipulators, deceivers, liars, they don't just shut it off and on to pick and choose. They do it to everyone, right? It's not just, oh, well, this person actually is bad. Why do you think that I'm bad? Because he told you that, right? He spun his narratives the way he wanted to spin them. He wouldn't tell anybody in the first, however many months why I was so bad. All he kept saying was that I did something personal to him. No, I didn't lie for him. It's literally like that simple. I didn't lie for him. It was a culmination of me not lying for him. He got really mad that people kept saying to him that they liked my show. That burned him. The numbers, apparently, which is insane to me, at such a small channel that I was, he got jealous and upset over the number of people that were watching, which is fucking nutty, okay? That's not normal. And so it was a culmination of people saying they liked me and my numbers, and then me not lying for him, right? Now, right after that happened, during that Halloween party, unbeknownst to me, Deanna had taken some pictures of Lindsay and sent them to Lauren. I had no idea that happened, right? Hey, Glitter Pen, nice to have you as a member. Welcome. I had no idea, right? I had no idea these pictures were taken, right? So a week or two goes by, and I start being accused of sending these pictures to Lauren. And I'm like, pictures? What pictures? What the fuck are you guys talking about, right? I didn't even see these pictures until weeks after I was accused of them, right? Weeks. Freaking weeks. And when I finally saw the pictures, I could tell where the person was sitting, because I was one of the first tables where the dance floor, to the edge of the dance floor, there was only 2 or 3 tables along that, and then there's tables behind it, right? And I was the first one. I might have sat for a total of 3 minutes that entire night to eat my food quickly and then get back up. I didn't sit any other time. You could tell the person who took the picture was in a sitting position. You could tell they were sitting at the second table, because you could see my table, you can see the door, and you can see the edge of the dance floor. So now I've narrowed it down to someone who was sitting, someone who was at that second table, and I narrow it down even further by being like, well, there was only 2 people there that Lauren called, me and Deanna. So then I find out that Deanna and Lauren, okay, the person who received the photos from Deanna, lied to Aiden and blamed me for those photos, simply because they were too afraid of what Aiden would do to either one of them. So they figured, well, he was already harping on me for not lying for him. Now, mind you, I was nothing but kind and good to either one of them, okay, which makes it even shittier in that aspect, because I have no reason to be shitty or mean to anyone. You know what I mean? I'm just not that kind of person. So it just kind of blew my mind at that point, that I have to now find out that the people who I thought were decent friends of mine went out of their way while I was being hammered with bullshit to then blame me for pictures they took and received, because they were too afraid of what he would do to them. And they lied about it, and they lied about it, and they let me take the heat over and over and over. And I had to sit there and think about that. Lauren had complained to me about how all of the trolls had made her feel over the last year, how it was a very deep and a dark place, of these people saying all these horrible things about her. And it popped into my mind, well, you sure as fuck didn't care about that happening to me, now did you? Just to be Aiden's little lapdog, right? You're so afraid. What does that tell you, though? You are afraid of what he's going to do to you. You think that's normal? It's normal to be afraid of someone that's supposed to care about you? Never mind the fact that he just threw you out like trash, right? Just threw you out like trash. And I, as your friend, was like, oh, this sucks, So for me, it was like, what the fuck is actually going on here when you have people willing to lie about something you had no part of and didn't even know happened, right? Just to throw you under the bus because they're afraid of what he's going to do to them. And it is abuse, right? This is another problem that I have, that people seem to think that you need to be punched in the face for it to be abused. Listen, I was abused physically, mentally, and emotionally by my abuser. All right. Make no mistake about it. But even if he had just mentally and emotionally abused me, that's still abuse, right? Like, unfortunately, that's not how mine went. I had to deal with the physical as well. But I know plenty of people who have been emotionally and mentally abused, and people are just like, oh, well, that's not abuse because you weren't punched in the face. No, it absolutely is abuse. In the state of Massachusetts, coercive control is in the definition of abuse. It is illegal for a reason. Coercive control is exactly what Aiden does on a daily basis. It is in the literal definition of abuse legally, right? I have a donation here. I just want to read real quick. It's $25 from Matt. Thank you, Matt. And it says, wishing you and yours all the best. Thank you so much. And then I have another $10 one here. It says, anonymous, Starbucks has something called medicine ball tea. Get one today. Medicine ball tea. That actually sounds good. Thank you, anonymous. I appreciate that. Before I go further, I know I totally forgot to even go through this spiel, but if you would like to support the channel, we would very much appreciate it. Aiden and his minions work really hard to stop that from happening, and we are a very small channel. So, our support comes from the kindness of all of you, and if we don't get that support, then, keep this alive. And it's important work, right? We're also in the middle of the Brian Walsh trial right now. It's Sunday, so obviously I'm not covering that at this moment, but we have a great team during trials that, we have fun. Right? And so there's a bunch of different ways you can support the channel. You can hit the like button, which is free. You can subscribe, that's free. You can share, which is free. You can hit the hype button when the channel's not live anymore. You can do that 3 times a week. That is supposed to help small creators. That is also free. Then we have membership, super chat, super stickers, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Revolut. And then we have a link in chat for debit and credit. It's pinned to the top. It's also in the description of the video, along with all these other options. And then we have an Amazon wish list, which is also in the description of our videos. And those are all the awesome ways you can support. If you are new here, we are having a members only Christmas Eve pajama party. So make sure you get your membership before then. And for those of you that can't afford it, we will figure something out to make sure that, we try to include as many as humanly possible to get you your own. All right. Yeah, the Ghetto Mellow account is Aiden, which is just disgusting. If you have X, you go and look at it, but it's really gross. Trigger warning. It's racist as fuck and disgusting. So, yeah, it's a lot of things, right? Like, a lot of things. It's crazy. No, it doesn't. I mean, he's been a long time. He's made a lot of really racist, misogynistic, just disgusting comments in general. When you have to constantly tell people you're not a narcissist and a misogynist, that maybe you are, right? I certainly do not have to constantly tell people I am not a narcissist or misogynist. So it's like, that also doesn't seem to ring bells in people's brains, Yeah, definitely. Well, that's the thing, right? There's so many people who are afraid. They're just afraid. And I understand it. I do. I totally empathize and sympathize with them. I understand why they're afraid. I get it. I know what he does behind closed doors. There's a lot of blackmail. There's a lot of threats. there's a lot of telling people, it doesn't matter what I say about you, people blindly believe me, and they're going to believe me. So even if I said you did this, this, and this, all I have to do is tell them and they're going to believe me. And I mean, he's right in a way. People do just blindly believe him, although I do think people are starting to wake up. And my point is, I wish they had listened. I really wish they had listened, because I tried to stop some of this. I tried to stop victims from happening. I tried to educate people on his patterns so they could go and look for themselves and put it together themselves, right? And too many people didn't listen because, well, he said I'm bad, so that must mean I'm bad. When in reality, what it means is I knew too much about some of the things that he did, and he does not want people to know the truth that I know about him. Because if they believe me, then they may not follow him anymore, right? He puts it on everyone else. It's never on him. It's his behavior. It's his behavior. It's not my behavior. It's his behavior. Why is that everyone else's fault? Why is his behavior everyone else's fault? You know? And you have to love when Aiden says everything else is drama, except for when he wants to do drama, then drama's okay, right? He spent like, what was it, months calling JFK the drama channel because JFK decided to ask some questions of Aiden. I mean, JFK is the only one thus far that I have heard besides me actively, and at least JFK got to ask him face to face. You know, I've never been able to do that. Why don't you just tell your followers not to call people's works and do all these weird ass fucking things that they do? And Aiden's response is the same every time. No, I'm not going to do that. Why not, Aiden? If you don't control these people like you claim, why not just make a public service announcement? Hey guys, I could get in trouble for that. Please don't do that. Oh no, I'm not going to do that because they're not going to listen to me. He makes so many excuses about why he won't say it. But I say it all the time. Do not, and I mean do not, take what I say and then use that to harass someone else. Do not do it. I do not condone it. I do not think it's acceptable. Do not fucking do it. Do not harass people. Do not intimidate people. Do not call their jobs. Do not do those things. Please, for the love of God, be a decent human being, right? He will never say that because that's what he wants them to do. We all know it. Every time he says someone's name or where they work or where they live, that is a dog whistle to the masses to go and do the dirty work. Everyone knows it. It is not a fucking secret at this point. The fact that he denies it is outright mind-boggling. We all know what it is, right? And yes, they're afraid that he will publicly blast them. I don't have that fear for multiple reasons. One of which, because when I started my channel, I was very open with people. I'm an open book with people about where I came from and where I am in life, right? I was someone that had a lot of traumatic abuse as a kid, sexual abuse as a kid. And it's unfortunate, but it happened, right? And I had a lot of trauma, not just that, but, you know, as a young adult, I was in an abusive relationship. I, you know, had a child that's, you know, terminally ill, and almost right away started having medical issues. By the time she was 3 months, she had the G-tube taped to her face, up her nose, and down her throat. She was already having weight gain issues. We were in and out of the hospital, and I still graduated high school, which he falsely claims that I am a dropout, which is just my student loans, my college student loans say fucking otherwise. They're genius. So he likes to say something like, oh, she's a dropout and uneducated. And like, where do you get that from? That's your rumor mill now? Like, that's completely and utterly false. Completely and utterly false. Like, what the? You want to pay my student loans? Happy to show them if you're going to pay them, Aiden. Like, the fuck? But I'm not afraid because there's not, what is he going to, he's already made up a bunch of shit, right? That's all he can do at this point is make shit up. I was very upfront with people that I have been sober from opiates 18 years. I was someone who had a record for petty, you know, having drugs way back when. I was trying to kill the pain that I felt every single day, right? It's an immense amount, right? I have CPTSD. I will forever have CPTSD. And if you're asking what that is, it is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. More than one trauma, more than one bad trauma. And you cannot cure CPTSD or PTSD for that matter. And so I'm not afraid of him making shit up because he's been doing that for 2 years. I've been harassed for 2 years. 2 years. I've had people texting my phone, sending me emails, daily DMs of I'm a horrible person, how I should go die, how I should go off myself, which most of these people know. My dad, who adopted me when I was 5, not my biological, but the dad who was my dad my whole life, committed suicide when I was 21, and he resides inside of this necklace here, his ashes. And I carry him with me everywhere. That's my dad. He never treated me like I was adopted or his stepdaughter. I was just his oldest daughter. And most people know that. So they know what they're doing when they send me these, DMs and emails and text messages that I should go myself, and all the things that they call me and all the things that they say, like, oh, what about your migrant hotel? Does this look like a fucking migrant hotel to anybody? Like, realistically, they let me set up an entire Twisted Tragedies background and like move things around and have like half of a gaming area for my kids. Like, that's on the other half of this room. And, I go in and out of this room because this is a different room, and into my bedroom, into my daughter's room. My husband sometimes will bring me in like a home cooked meal while I'm streaming. Like, hotels do all that. It's amazing, right? Like, hotels look like this. I mean, what? You know what I mean? Like, what? The shit he says is just insane, right? Like, food stamp 5. I don't get food stamps, bro. I wish I did. I need the help. I need it. Bottom line, we make too much to get any sort of help, but not enough to pay all the bills. So yeah, my husband works 50 hours a week, and that's he would work more if legally they were allowed. When you drive, you're only allowed to drive for a certain amount of hours, and he works for a company that he drives one of their trucks for. And so legally you can only drive 10 hours a day in 5 days. You can get the 6th day under certain circumstances only. And so he works as much as the job in law allows for him to. So it's like, I'm not afraid of him just saying shit that isn't true. Only recently he found out that I was a dancer for 10 years because I told my audience that, right? Like, again, not a secret. Wasn't even a secret to my grandmother, dude. Like, all of my friends used to come visit me as a dancer at my job. Like, not a secret. Never has been, never will be. Not ashamed. Sorry to tell you. Just not ashamed. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but not ashamed. Not even a little. And it's like he tries to latch on to people's pain, people's trauma, and turn it and make it something bad. But it'll never be something bad. Was it shitty to go through it? Yes. Is it painful all the time to have to think about it? Sure is. But I'm someone who was in a cell to someone who went full circle to working in the prison for the criminally insane at Bridgewater. And I would still be at that job right this moment if I didn't have all the medical issues I had and I could afford the 40 grand in childcare that it would cost me. Unfortunately, we can't afford 40 grand in childcare a year. So here I am at home, also with all the very serious health issues that I have, which I don't always share in depth with you guys. You guys get the gist of what I'm going through, but not, in depth for privacy. And then I have my oldest daughter who has her own, medical struggles. And so everyone has different circumstances, right? My point is, who the fuck is he to judge anyone's? Who is he to judge anyone's? He had a career in corrections. What was his career when he got walked out of being a teacher? I've worked my entire life. My entire life. This is now my job, right? And it does not make good money, I'll tell you that much. I am not a channel of 40,000 or 30,000. And he makes pretty well sure that it's hard for me to be able to maintain the channel. But I still try to just push through, right? Because if I don't, then people don't get to hear about what he does and how he does it. And then other people won't be able to step away from him and other people get hurt. So I refuse to give in. Because if I do, who's out here talking about it? Who is out here helping anyone? Who is out here just giving them the education that they need to know his patterns and the things that he does and why he does them over and over and over? Oh, I 100% agree. I think she's a coward. To blame someone else for something you did is cowardly to begin with. And then to try to downplay it and act like you didn't know someone would be mad about that is even more cowardly, Well, they weren't my best friends. That's for sure. I thought of Lauren as a friend, but they certainly weren't my best friends. But I mean, where are they sticking up for Meredith now? Aren't they supposed to be Meredith's friends? You know, I'm going to have to look into this medicine ball tea. That sounds good. Yes. Thank you. Thank you again to Matt and Anonymous. We dropped these bombs, these truth bombs for you guys. We got lots more truth bombs yet to come up here. But my point is I refuse to sort of give up. You can hype it until the stream is ended. You can do that now. Before, me and Jesse tried, we couldn't. You couldn't do it until it wasn't live anymore. Good to know, Wildflower. Thank you. Well, he's definitely the definition of hypocrisy. He says, oh, everything is drama unless he wants to talk about drama. Everything is about free speech unless it's your free speech. Then he's trying to blackmail you into silence. The man, hypocrisy has his fucking picture. Let me see. Can we, I think we might have it actually in the dictionary. I think this is the picture of him that they have in the dictionary, as a matter of fact, under hypocrisy. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we have it. We do have it. Where is it? We have it somewhere. Let's see. Where is it? I think I found it. Here it is. Here it is. There it is. Found it. We found it. We found it, folks. We found it. Here it is. Yep. Sewer turtle. We found it. It lives. It lives. It lives. It lives. That's hypocrisy at its finest, my friends. It's hypocrisy. It's what he does best, right? Let me see. It is an appropriate name for him. But that's the thing, right? He made fun of someone else for a 9-hour stream. He's done over 20 hours at this point, 20 hours. I mean, sad, really sad. I mean, he's telling people he wants to recuperate, right? Recuperate the money for that was given for his legal defense fund. Here's the problem. You don't recuperate something that was never yours to begin with. So people paid over 300 grand or over 300 grand, whatever it was, for his legal defense fund. You don't recuperate that. That was for the legal defense fund. You don't then try to make another 300 grand on top of that to recuperate money that was never yours to begin with. Has nobody thought this out yet? You don't recuperate something that wasn't yours. You use what people give you and you pay that. And if it's already paid off, that's it. That's it. You don't recuperate what you had to spend that people gave you to spend because it was never yours to begin with. And we've explained this to him, right? He took one of the GoFundMes we had when we had our fire and we lost everything, and one of the ones we had for my daughter's medical care. And then he added a bunch of people who had the same name as me from different states that weren't even me. And we're like, oh, look at how many GoFundMe she had. What about? Now, first of all, 2 of those are mine. We did indeed have a fire and lose absolutely everything. We do not have family that can just give us money to replace anything. So yes, we needed the fucking help, right? My daughter has a disease that less than 200 people on planet Earth have. There's 2 doctors in this country that study her disease in a lab, and they happen to be in Texas. There's a purpose. There was a purpose and a need for it. My daughter needs a bone marrow transplant, and she needs neck surgery, right? He tries to take mundane or real things and spin them into something bad. Everyone is a scammer because he said so. Everyone is a drug addict because he said so. Everyone is psycho because he said so. But in reality, most of these cases, the people are completely opposite of what he claims. I'm the literal opposite of what he claims. The funny thing about it is he doesn't know a goddamn fucking thing about me. We were never friends. We were acquaintances, simply acquaintances, covering the same case. That's it. He didn't know a singular thing about me. Not one. Not fucking one. Not one. So I find it funny that people just buy whatever he's selling, because he's going to sell it in a way that he's the victim and everyone else is bad every fucking time. And I think people who are on the Free Care and Read side are having a hard time understanding that it's not just Free Care and Read people he does it to. Yes, it's also anti-Free Care and Read people. And you might not like us, but you were taught not to like us. the same way that he's doing right now to other people. It's the same playbook. So if you think that he only did it to free Karen Reed people and he didn't do it to not free Karen Reed people, ask Sean McDonough. Ask Mike from the Young Jerks. He can tell you. He was around when what happened to me happened. Narcissists, control freaks, they don't just do it to one person. So if you want to justify it in your mind by being like, hey, cool, I don't like anti people, then cool. Justify it in your mind that way. If that's the way you need to sleep at night, all the more power to you, whatever. You can continue to hate me until the cops come home. But you need to start asking yourself, why do you hate the people you hate? Simply because they think Karen Reed is guilty and you have a difference of opinion that you can't just agree to disagree? Or because your brain was trained to hate that person based upon what he kept nailing into your mind. You know? I tried, but I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like maybe there was something else I could have done, you know? See? So thanks, Glyer. Appreciate that. You fucking buffoon. He's another one, part of the sewer crew, you know? Well, that's, you know, he went on like days of saying Meredith will never be content. He doesn't go after any. If you have to spend time telling people how you don't go after all of your exes, you should probably stop, because you do. You do, with the exception of his ex-wife. And I'm guessing there's a reason for that. Maybe it's in the divorce decree. Maybe because he knows he would be, you know, screwed ultimately if he did that. Maybe because he knows the blowback of that. And Lauren are the only two. And why? Well, because Lauren just does whatever he wants. She'll lie for him. She'll blame other people for him. She easily, you know, lied and blamed me for pictures I never took, she received, and she knew that. Didn't have any problem blaming me for it, right? She'll do whatever he tells her. Went back and re-lied to Lindsay for him, right? Whatever he says, she'll do. And that's sad. That's really sad, because it shows like a lack of self-esteem, that you would need to be around that person so much, like you're following them around still after they threw you out like garbage. He is never going to care about you. He's never going to care about anybody. He doesn't have the capacity. Narcissists do not have the capacity to care about anyone but themselves. Anyone. I mean, that sounds like you have a critical thinking mind. YBE, though. That you could put 2 + 2 and realize it equals 4 and not 22 because he said so, right? You know, he's taking 2 + 2 and telling people it equals 22, and they're believing him when 2 + 2 actually equals 4. And that's the problem, is he talks around how it's actually 22 because there's 2 2s, and it's not 4, because everyone else is an idiot. It's not 4. It's 22 because there's 2 2s, and he spends his time circling around how to make people believe it's 22. And the funny part is when they all come out of it, they believe it's 22. I mean, that's the easiest way I can explain it. You know, it's wild to me. That was awful. I don't know who the fuck does that shit. That is so, you don't like someone, you don't have to like them. You know? Sean's on the boat. I gotta text Shawnee. Say hi to him. It's getting around that time to send Christmas cards out anyway. Hey. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yes, I live in a hotel because he said so. It's definitely more affordable, you know, so more affordable than my over $2,000 in rent. But that's the thing. It's jumping on a bandwagon. I know I'm behind in the comments. The first time I heard sewer, I was terrified. I was thinking, this man is out of control and will go to evil lengths to get back at people. You have no idea the lengths that he's willing to go. Like really far. Hey, Christy. Nice to see you. It's the same method over and over and over. Face the jam now. He's a liar. Does it constantly? I mean, that's the problem, right? That's why it's so dangerous, because it's so effortless. He just lies right into the camera and people believe him, right? Kind of does look like a little bit of a conference room. I wish my do epic shit sign over here, well, it's probably over here for you guys, but over on the wall there, I wish that it wasn't so bright. It's so bright that you guys can't see it on screen, but It's a cool neon sign. I need to get one that says like Twisted Tragedies. I would love a neon sign that said that. Would be fun. I mean, dude, listen, have I lived in a hotel as in shelter? Yes, I have. Does this look like a fucking hotel and shelter to you? No, it isn't. Like, come on, man. Use your fucking brain cells. Use your goddamn brain cells. Like, clearly, it's very clear that this is not a hotel, right? I mean, people have been to my house. Ashley's been to my house, right? I'm pretty sure my neighbors would want to know if there was like a hotel erected in the middle of their very small neighborhood. Just saying, you know? Well, as you should, right? Like, as you should. Everyone should make their own opinions. Unfortunately, as we know, he's very good at manipulation and making people believe his narrative, even if it's not the right one. It's not true, you know? It was, and I paid my way through school and medical bills and rent and car payments, you know? Worked hard my entire life. So I find it funny that he has anything to say about anybody right now that doesn't have a 9 to 5. He hasn't had a 9 to 5 since he was walked out of being a teacher. I had a career in corrections. I now have serious medical issues that I did not have previously, you know? Yeah, she's usually always going to just pop her a message, Benny. It is nice. It is very nice to see a lot of people in here. I mean, there's 172 people watching from Twitter right now. It's not even about giving him that much attention for a Sunday morning. It's really about showing people the patterns, because they're going to keep being more apparent at this point. You know, what do you think it'll take for mainstream law tubers to drop Turtle? To be honest, I don't think they will, which is really sad because at this point, I know that a lot of them know who the fuck, like what he is and who he is and what he does. They've known for a while now. So I think they're too afraid of him attacking them and then some of their viewers bouncing that he brought them. And so they don't. And if that's true for many people, you know? I mean, to be fair, Mike made that, 8-minute video, and he keeps getting a ton of hate for what? For speaking up? I mean, he's speaking up. Yeah, okay, fine. You want to say it took a long time? Cool, I get it. But at the same time, he's doing it. Do you know how many people don't? You know how many people don't at all, ever? They just remain silent. And I don't blame them either at the same time because I know what he does and how he keeps them quiet. You know? He's screaming and yelling and calling them and threatening them to destroy their lives and he doesn't keep children out of it, their children's lives, right? And you're trying to keep your families safe from this freaking maniac, right? And that's what most people at this point are trying to do, is keep their family safe. They appease him. They keep him at arm's length, but they appease him enough by patting his ass and giving his ego a little boost here or there, you know? Everything for him is about the money and the numbers, you know? Oh, yeah. I thought that's what you meant, but I was just making sure. I thought that's what you meant, though. But you're right. The truth does not matter to him at all, not even a little. What he cares about is people just believing him. And a lot of the times when he's threatening people, he'll say, well, people will just blindly believe me and I'll tell them this, this, and this. And then these people have to sit there and think about it. Like, you know what? He's right. They will just believe him. I've watched them destroy other people simply by him saying something. But that's when it clicks in their head. That's when it goes, and they're like, oh my God, he has been doing this to people for a really, really, really long time. And they start to realize how many people he's done it to. That's the moment that they're like, oh my God. But in that moment, it makes them a little more afraid. A little more afraid because they've watched what happened to other people and they do not want that to happen to them. I don't wish it on anyone. It's brutal, dude. It's brutal. And it doesn't stop. In 2 years, 2 fucking years I've been dealing with some of these people. You know? I did get tested for the bone marrow. We all did. All the immediate family got tested because there's no age limits on immediate family. Unfortunately, none of us were a match, but they put it into, they put our bone marrow into like a system. And so they'll look for a match there. But she also can't have the bone marrow transplant until her lungs are a little more stable and she gets the neck surgery, because right now her neck is stuck in this downward position from her disease, which has fused the bones. And so they cannot intubate her with her head like this. She can't be intubated. So, because she can't lift her head. She can move a little bit left to right, but she cannot lift it. It's in like stuck in sort of like this sort of downward position because the bones have been fused. So she can't be intubated like this. You know, the last times that she had surgery, she had to be twilight, which is half like awake. And that's brutal. So she's got to have that neck surgery first. And also her lungs are not strong enough to have either one of them yet. And so they still have to figure out, because how like risky the neck surgery would be, if it's feasible to even do a neck surgery, and if so, how would they do it if they still can't intubate? It's a clusterfuck at this point. But again, that's what comes along with rare diseases and medical complexities that people don't even realize is happening behind closed doors, you know? Oh, Rakita, I totally forgot about that whole situation. You know? Jimmy and Will are friends with Nick. Oh, Nick Rakita, you mean, right? Will Blee. Emily D. Baker, brother counsel, and Rotten Mango refused to endorse his shit as journalism. Wait, whoa. When did brother counsel bow out? Because as far as I know, brother counsel was sort of sticking up for him, repeating his bullshit. So did he back out? I mean, I haven't watched him, so I don't know. So I'd have to ask one of you guys. Yeah, Glyer the Glyer. It's batshit crazy. He puts the narrative out there that we can't talk Karen. Yeah, can't talk to Karen antis. If people all agreed on everything in this world, how boring we are our own person. But that's the whole point, right? Create that vitriol and that anger. And so people will use their misplaced hate and their misplaced anger at anyone he directs it at. And they will take that misplaced hate and anger and throw it at whoever the fuck he tells them to. That's a fact, you know? I do not know. As far as I understand, they got the video of Jess's old show where she talked a lot about like sex and porn and blah, 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 blah. And one of her political rivals posted that video talking about, you know, how Jess is, and it somehow got sent to the guy who gave her the studio space, and he said basically he could no longer give her that studio space because of that. That's what I heard. But I know that her and Aaron had a falling out. I do not know about what specifically. Last night they did talk about it on the spaces that they're no longer friends and that Jess blocked her. Weird. But it would not surprise me. It's because someone had spoken with Aaron, but Aaron wants no part in any of this shit. So that probably is a good assumption that she does not like Aiden. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, I mean, that's not okay. That's not normal. It's stalker behavior. It's something they've done numerous fucking times over and over. Listen, they called on the same thing on Leah, and Leah doesn't have kids. Okay, at the time, her boyfriend had, or her fiance had a kid. But she doesn't even have kids, and they called on her. So it's like, this is, again, these are patterns, right? Trying to collect false charges on every woman or acquaintance that he doesn't like. He's done that numerous times. He runs to the police station. He's used fake screenshots, made up emails, cropped screenshots, and ran to the police and taken his part of things out and run to the police station and said, oh, this person did this horrible thing to me. He's reported falsely a bunch of shit to try to get people charged with things out of spite. It's simply a pattern of his. He's done it to every fucking woman. So it would not shock me if he did it to Meredith at all. It is something he does all the fucking time. It's a pattern. Listen, he can't even go back and be like, I haven't tried to get, you know, charges on any one of these women. He's tried to get charges on every single one of them. What does that tell you? Normal people don't break up and then try to get each other charged for shit unless it's valid. And I think the problem is that he knows that these women have a valid reason to get charges against him or a restraining order against him. And he thinks that if he goes and tries to do it first, that they'll believe him and not them. I honestly believe that's it, because he knows that they have a valid reason, right? If you're threatening people, If you don't do this, I'm going to do this. That's a threat. That is blackmail. You cannot do that. That is illegal. It's coercive control as well. Like, you can't fucking do that. You cannot, you know? Yeah, Aiden claimed that she does cocaine and fights with her kid. Not for nothing, but how many moms and dads in here have teenagers that you argue with? Just want to know. Teenagers are stubborn. I was one once, and I was very stubborn. I'm still stubborn, but I have girls, and they're even more difficult. Just saying. Yeah, you're going to argue with your teenager because they don't like to fucking listen, and they think that they know everything when they do not know everything, and you're just trying to do the best as a parent to keep them safe, right? So yes, you're going to argue with a teenager. Shocker, right? I mean, that's fucking insane. But it's the same story every time, you know? But that's the problem. It's incitement. You're inciting people against others. It's disgusting. Why do it? He's known for doing the exact same things over and over and over, right? This is not something new. I would have already done it, to be fair. If this was me, I would have already gotten a restraining order simply from the fucking various threats of blackmail that he had done a billion times over already. Really? I didn't see that. Well, I didn't watch. I don't have time to watch anybody anymore. But I don't watch LTL. Not that there's a reason I don't. I just haven't had a chance to watch anyone really. But said Nan threw a couple of subtle digs at Turtle when she was on LTL last week. You know what? To be fair, I don't blame her. He brainwashed her and used her like he used everyone else. It's not a shocker. You know what I mean? Maybe she figured it out. I mean, I wish, again, the name of this stream is I wish they would have listened. And I do wish that they would have listened. Because I feel like I probably could have saved a lot more people if people had listened to me, right? And not just assume that I was. The problem is what he to the way that he does things is he tells everyone that, oh, they're just saying this about me because they have turtle derangement syndrome and I, quote, exposed them. That's not what happened, That's not true, though, Brian. Unfortunately, it's just not. I literally can tell you it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. You could shut YouTube off for 6 months, which I did at one point. It wasn't, or 5 months, whatever it was. It doesn't just go away. It does not. These people are relentless, and when he wants to torture you, he will go to extreme lengths to torture you in your real life. Regardless of if you're speaking out or regardless of if you're on social media, he will continue to do it. And that's what I think people don't grasp that fact yet, that it's not something you can shut off. It's not something you can just click and go away from. Not with him. That might be true for the vast amount of things that happen on the internet. Not with him. It's not the way it works. You cannot just get off, offline. It's unfortunate, Right. And that's the thing. And it's not just that. They'll send things to your house. They'll keep emailing you, texting you, finding ways to contact you from burner numbers, using applications. So if you blocked their number, they now are using endless burner number. I kid you not. It's you sure did, my friend. And I appreciate that. Yeah, the vast majority of other things are yes. But unfortunately with him, it's not the case, I mean, and that's the thing. For what? It's like, okay, Mike's being honest. I get it. Maybe people think he should have said something sooner. I don't disagree that maybe it could have been sooner. But at the same time, he's saying something, and a lot of people never do. They never ever do. Right? A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't. He seems to think everybody on planet Earth knows who he is. And it's like, bro, the vast majority of people in real life have no fucking idea who you are, But I also have found what Jesse's saying also be true. If you live in the area, which we all do here in Massachusetts, it's crazy, And that's the thing. This is why people don't speak out. You have to ask yourself why Mike took as long as he did, why other people take as long as they do. And you can just see why. You know what I'm saying? You can see why, Yeah, it still sucks. It's still an invasion of your privacy, wait, can anyone get tested? What do you mean? Like, can they, like, can get tested for what? I'm sorry, I probably missed the context of it because I'm behind in the comments. My apologies. Yeah, it is hard. When you live here, it's a shit show. EDB won't cover his shit, but I think Brother Counsel, he has covered TV. That's why I said, like, I don't know. I appreciate you both because you did. You guys saw that sort of one person in Mike's chat that was sort of just trying to cause an issue. And it's like, I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to fight. I'm not a mean person. This is a misconception. I am not a mean person. And I don't just go after people. It's not a thing that I do. I don't post private messages on the internet. I don't, even if I'm not talking to you anyway, I don't do that, right? It's not who I am. And so, like, when someone's like coming at me like, well, if you do this and you do this, Karen's this and Karen, listen, we're never going to agree on Karen. Let's just agree to disagree and move on from that, right? Because you're never going to change my mind. I have more information than the general public or other creators. I probably have the same or, similar information to me. And from what I have, you're not going to change my mind. It's really that simple, right? I thought maybe that would happen too, but when you have someone as toxic as Aiden pushing out this anger and vitriol, he's sort of culminating this cult-ish way of making people use that misplaced anger and hate and push it towards anyone that could tell anyone the truth about what he does. And he makes that person the villain. That person is bad. That person is this. That person is that. And I'm not saying everyone's a fucking angel. No one's an angel. Listen, once again, I was an addict at one point in my life, not an angel, but I'm also not ashamed of where I came from and that my life went full circle. I was someone who was an addict and sitting in a jail cell for just having a drug, to someone who came full circle in my life, sober 18 years, who worked in a prison for the criminally insane. Like, I went all the way around. I'm not ashamed at all. This is something I've been, very upfront with my audience about, because I want other people to know they're not alone in those journeys, right? Things can change. I was very young. I had been through a lot of trauma at that point in life, and I was trying to drown that daily pain. That's it, bottom line, right? I didn't talk to anybody about my sexual abuse as a child for years until I was 21. Not a single soul until I was 21 years old. Some people bring it to the grave with them. All right. So I know what it's like. And he tries to use people's pain from forever ago or a mistake they made. Every single person on planet Earth has a skeleton in their closet. My biggest problem is, for a man with such a dumpster fire life, and we've said this before, you guys have heard me say this before, who the fuck are you to be talking about anyone else? And it's funny because when anything else comes out about him that's true, that he's lied about and people find out about it, he says, oh, it's private, it should have remained private. My private life is private and it should have remained private, and these messages are leaked and they should have been private. And it's like, where do you give that common courtesy to anybody else? Do you think you get that common courtesy after you do not give that to everyone else? Sorry, buds, it's not the way it fucking works. Not at all. You could choose to not to be a douche nozzle. You can choose to not spin everything to make you the victim. You can choose to not be a douche. But you do, because you have to control everything around you. You have to control the narrative. You have to control the money. You have to control the views. You have to control who speaks to who and why and when and how. And he has to control his audience. If his audience realized how many times he has bragged privately to a multitude of people, and they will find out if his trial comes because it's in his messages, and he's still saying it to this day, but these are still in his messages from when they took his phones. He talks about how people will blindly believe him, how stupid they are, how they'll keep giving him money no matter how much he berates them and talks shit about them. That's a sick mind. That's not normal. I would never, ever be like, ha ha ha, my audience is stupid. These people who donate to me are dumbasses. Like, what? The level of appreciation for the people that are helping your channel or supporting you, like that's your level of appreciation for them? It makes my heart stop in a way, where I'm like, I don't think anybody could be that, have that lack of self-awareness or be that cruel. These are people who might not even be able to afford to spend on you, and they are to try to help you because they appreciate what you are doing or have done, right? And that's the way you speak about them in private and sometimes in public. I mean, that's deplorable, dude. I would never, that thought would never cross my fucking mind, you know? And that's the other thing, Mimi, and welcome, by the way, and you can have that opinion, right? Like you can have that opinion and I can have a different opinion and we don't have to, be mean to one another and try to use each other's pain as some sort of gotcha, right? I hope that they do, but they don't usually. Filing a false report is a crime, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm not a fan, myself. And that's the thing is like, exactly. Thank you, Sam. You put it beautifully, my friend. We have all sorts of opinions about all sorts of different things here, but we coexist. Literally. I don't see any other chat that's happening. It was happening a little last night in Mike's chat, and it was nice to see. There were still some people giving me pushback for just existing, which I get all the time, because he's made it that way. I can just exist in a chat, just listening like everyone else and chatting to those of you that I see that know me. And I'll just immediately be attacked for just existing there. Well, why are you fucking here? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, why don't you go back to the hotel? Does this look like a hotel? Why don't you go get food? I don't have food stamps. You idiots. Half of the people you call the food stamps 5 don't have food stamps. It's like, what? Like, what, bro? What? To try, he does. And then people just buy it. Hook, line, and sinker. It's really gross at this point. And I know that a lot of people are opening their eyes to it, but there are so many more that are still so blinded, still so fucking blinded, I know, right? Isn't it a little refreshing, Mimi? It's refreshing for people to have a place where it's okay to just disagree, but coexist at the same time, because I'm not seeing a lot of places like that right now. I did. Yep, I did. I listened to the whole thing. I had to go back, actually. Me too, my friend. Someone once told me that if you don't have haters, you're not doing your job right, but it sucks, Does he pay for bots? Actually, he has paid for bots. He's also faked turtle chats so that he can talk about certain things and make it seem like someone else brought the topic up, so he had to answer the question. There's various things that he's done. He's got dozens of fake accounts that he talks to his own account on. He talks to his other fake accounts on. He contacts people who have orders against him with the fake accounts. So it's like all the people who were like, oh, he's not dumb enough to do this, this, or this when he's on bail. It's like, I tried to warn you that he absolutely will do it, Absolutely will do it. You don't get why people care? You don't get why people care that they're being blackmailed and threatened and bashed into oblivion? I mean, if it's you it was happening to, would you care? You just asking for a friend. Oh God, I'm still not checking the other. My bad, Jesse. I'm trying to do better with this. I promise. I'm checking the second screen. Sorry. I mean, nobody's an angel. Nobody is. What's wrong? Nothing wrong with you, Jimbo. Nothing at all, my friend. No such thing. No such thing. Nice to see you, Donald. Yeah, it's not our business. That's his other line, right? It's his other line. Amen, my friend. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, first of all, as far as I understand from what he said, John Barron, like, apparently, at least from what John Barron's account said this morning, or maybe it was last night, is they're wrong about it again. They've made, like, at one point I was John Barron, okay? At one point, half of you in chat were John Barron, or being accused of being John Barron. It's like, dude, how many people are going to be accused of being John Barron? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just insane. Why? He likes cancel culture? Interesting. That doesn't sound like First Amendment, does it? Just saying he tries to pretend, right? Like, come on. Me too. Me too. I wish that his entire messages would be published for his entire following to see, she said. And I agree with you. You know, I 100% agree with you. And I think that's why I think there's a high chance that he takes a deal, you know? Did he pay her back? Did he, like, here's the thing. Normally, if it was just her that said something, he would have never done it. But if he gets enough heat and gets pushed into it, he might actually give her the money back. You know? Yeah, Mike's chat was great last night. It's always the money with him. I mean, again, and I'm not going to say creators should make money. Of course we should. It's our job, right? Like I can't speak for what other people do, but I know what I do for my show. And there's no lack of hours spent doing this shit that I need to do for the show, for these cases, like whatever. So it's insane to me when people are like, man, they should get it up. This is our job. We don't have to have a 9 to 5 for it to be a job. Okay. Many different people have many different things in their lives, circumstances in their lives. Mine are different than yours. Yours are different than someone else's. I have a lot of health issues. I have children that I have to get on and off a bus. I can't afford the 40 grand in childcare. Like my circumstances are I'm home. So while I'm home and I'm not collecting any sort of disability or anything, I would like to try to work. And if this is something I can do and help people and enjoy and work and make the hours work for me where if I have an appointment, I can push off a stream. If I am really feeling sick, I can shut it down or take the camera off and lay down and just speak, right? There are a multitude of ways that I can do things that I wouldn't be able to do in a traditional job, right? And so what is wrong with that? It's okay for Aiden to do, but no one else. Do you see where the hypocrisy is, where he's like tells everybody else to get a job and all of his minions tell everybody else to get a job, but they don't tell him that, right? Make it make sense. It's hypocrisy at its finest. It's meant to be aimed at someone else simply to just insult them, right? That's it. That's literally it. He called Roberta's chat the geriatric chat. Why is that? I mean, does he seem to know all of a sudden all of the ages of the people that watch Roberta? Because I watch Roberta. Just saying. I'm sure he did, you know, and I actually said to him, those are not the kind of people you want following you anyway, Mike. Let them go. Those are not the kind of fucking people that you want. Who cares if you lose? Listen, I lost thousands of followers when he attacked me. Thousands. Because they simply believed whatever he said. It didn't matter. But then so be it. Then I don't want those people following me. If they're that easily led and they cannot see through what he's doing, I don't know what to say. I don't want those people following me then. You know what I mean? Like, so be it. So be it. And I like Mike's mods now. I like them, you know? So I guess it worked out for him, you know? It's their go-to insult saying, why don't you give all your money to TTV, basically saying you're not welcome in the chat if you have an open mind or differing opinion, which is just gross. But that's also their way of trying to like ostracize people to not watch me, not come in my chat, or else you will be harassed, or else you will be talked down to, or else, like, it's a tactic. And they've been doing it for 2 years. And it does work. It does. It affects my income greatly. As you can see, I don't get 50 super chats or 50 donations per stream. I just don't. I am not a channel of 20,000 subscribers, right? So every donation, it does matter for my channel. I know. I just realized the second that I read it, Jesse, I'm sorry. That's why I pulled up the other screen and I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep an eye on this screen. No, I'm getting better at it. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I'm doing better. I promise. I don't necessarily think everyone's attacking everyone. I think that people have to defend themselves. You know, at one point I said nothing for a very long time, and then I said nothing, and people are like, well, oh, she said nothing, so it must mean that he's right. No, I tried to rise above it and say that I wasn't going to, you know, if you guys remember, if some of you remember at least, back when he first attacked me, I said, I'm not going to reply to an adult tantrum. That's literally what I said, because that's exactly what it was, an adult tantrum. He had a literal adult tantrum, right? And so I'm like, I'm not going to reply to a fucking adult tantrum that he's mad that I didn't lie for him because he puts people in these shitty spots. I'm not going to do it. Right. And I didn't. And so I didn't say shit. But then after a while, it's like, you have the right to stand up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And after some time, I was like, no, fuck this. Right. And then I started giving receipts. But at that point, right, it didn't matter what receipt I put out. They kept saying, oh, that's fake. Oh, that's not real. Oh, it's altered. It's AI. It's this, it's that. And so I'm like, you know what? It doesn't even matter if I put the receipts out. Because at this point, they're basically just saying any receipt I put out is fake because he said so. So it's like at that point, I was like, you know what? Fuck them. They don't deserve receipts at this point. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter what I did, it was, he's right, I'm wrong, you know, I'm bad, he said so, and everything's fake that I put out, but everything's 100% real that he puts out. By the way, I've never put anything out fake ever, number one. Number two, do you know how many fake things he's put out? Do you know how many fake things he's given the cops? Do you know how many fake things he's given the court? Go to Ashley's case. She'll happily share any of the documents with all of you. She sat one day in jail for him creating an email, sending it to himself, and then claiming it was her. He brought that to the cops to have her charged and then into court. And when her private investigator traced it back to him is when she was found not guilty and they took that charge out. So throwing it out there, it's not the first or last time he has done things like that. You know, it's not, and it won't be. He'll continue doing it forever, because he's gotten away with it so many times. That was very nice of her. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. Maybe not for him, but for someone like me, that's a lot of money, right? Like, that's a very nice gesture. Nobody had to do that, but he depended on all sorts of people to do that shit for him, and he still does. And that's the sad part, right? But they have been taught to do that, right? Yeah, things in jail are expensive, unfortunately. Their commissary is like, say, for instance, we get ramen for like 20 cents, 25 cents. In jail, they're charging like 65 cents a ramen packet. It's, the commissary is like up there, you know? And we do not tolerate that behavior here, you know? Karma doesn't ever forget. I think Aiden's in for a lot of that karma at some point. You know, I always say that the universe will course correct. And it might not be as fast as we all want it to, but, you know, eventually it will happen, you know? Well, they also live with their, you know, Lara lives with his mother in her basement. Aiden rents a room and has an elderly roommate, but they have the balls to say anything. Me and my husband have our own place with rent over $2,000 a month. I don't know who either one of those idiots is talking about someone else's living situation, but me, my children, and my husband have our own place that we pay over $2,000 in rent alone. Never mind, you know, gas, utilities, groceries, like all the basics, clothes, kids needing clothes, toilet paper, this, that, the other thing. When the Glier lives in his mother's basement and Aiden rents a fucking house that has roommates, let's cut the shit with the hypocrisy, really, because you can't have a dumpster fire for a life and then talk about everyone else's life. It just doesn't make fucking sense. You know what I mean? Come on. Yeah, by the way, that award winning, he didn't win an award. It was a best blog of Worcester, you know, whatever year, because he had all of his people go and vote on an online poll to make him win. It wasn't for best journalist either. It was for best blog. Just FYI. Yeah, I mean, usually they are, you know, happy to get anything. Yeah, I do. And I mean, but for them, like, they're just blatantly lying to their audiences. And it's like, I refuse to cross that line. Like, I'm not going to do that. And so if that's unpopular because I refuse to sit here and say things that I know are not true, then so fucking be it. So fucking be it. Right? So be it. I won't do it. You lose a little piece of yourself and a little piece of your soul every time you get in front of a fucking camera to your viewers and lie like a rug. Not going to do it. Sorry. Not going to fucking do it. Yeah, I don't blame you, my friend. I don't blame you. Funny as hell, though. Screen name's funny. A lot of them are older women, but there's also older men, and there's just, I do think people are looking for something to belong to. And it's like, there are plenty of things to belong to. There are plenty of sense of communities, you know? But that ain't it. It's not one you want to be a part of, because I can promise you in the end, you're going to really regret ever being a part of it. And I've said a lot of the time that, like, if I had a penny for every person who came to me and was like, I can't unsee it. I can't unsee what I now see. It's right in front of me. It's blatant and I can't unsee it. I stepped back from it and now I see it. But it's like, they can't see it when they're in it. They make all the excuses in the world for why he didn't do anything wrong and he's the victim and everyone else sucks. They just can't see it, right? And I understand it, right? I've watched it happen. But if I had a penny for every person who was like, I can admit now I was in a cult, I'd be fucking rich, you know? It is money out of your pocket. It's a lot of money out of your pocket, unfortunately, you know? But I knew when I came back that would happen if I spoke truth. I knew exactly what would happen. And I needed to take a choice. And I made my choice. You know what I mean? Anybody can be tested, but there's like age limits now. I think you have to be 40 and under. You can't have certain medical conditions. They have like a questionnaire you can fill out for it, and it'll, like, you know, give you all the questions. For people who are immediate family members, all that stuff is waived. Like, there's no limit for age or anything like that. There are certain things for medical that you still can't, but everything else, like the age limit or whatever, is waived for immediate family. But for people who are non-family, it's almost the same process, just different, like, questions and things that you can be disqualified for, including age, which is weird. I didn't know 40 was the limit. Like, I'm like, I'm 39. They're like, you don't count because you're mom. And the chances of you being a match are, like, you know, not good. Usually you're 50, which is what I was, a 50% match and not a 100% match. It's usually a full sibling is a 100% match. And because I only had one child with my abuser, I did not have any more children with her dad. My husband stepped into the role as her dad when she was about 10. So, yeah. So, I mean, she doesn't have a full sibling, unfortunately. So the other best options were siblings. And of course, none of them were a full match. So, and that's what they're looking for. Lots of bandwagoning. Lots of it. Lots and lots of it. No, they shouldn't, but it's the way that he does it on purpose, right? Like, he does it on purpose to try to get people to be like, oh, that's a bad person because they did these things. And, you know, that's what he does. It's what he does. It is what it is. And he is on a downward spiral. You're 100% right about that. Probably. I wouldn't doubt that. He's getting desperate. I can tell. I honestly, she needs to back out slowly. I'm telling you, it's not smart to stay anywhere near him at this point. Like, he is imploding. He's been imploding for a while, but this is beyond, you know? And that's the thing. God forbid anybody say anything that is the truth. He immediately turns around with the bandwagon and goes, attack, 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 you know? Attack. Yeah, I think there's like a certain amount of days before you can change it. I thought it was like 3 days, but I think that's Facebook or something. It's like 2 weeks now, I think, on YouTube or something crazy. I don't know. It's like a long time before you can change it again. I'm just saying that was the truth. It was a blog. It wasn't, oh, you're the best journalist. It was for best blog in Worcester or something along those lines, and best blog in Massachusetts or Worcester. And like, he had all his people run and like vote on the poll. Fucking online thing. He had Brett pick up the thing. Brett is the one that picked up the award. Like, I have no idea, Beach, because she hasn't testified, so I have no idea what that would look like, you know, or what would be said. I fail to understand the correlation between the cases he has left and that anyway. those were things that happened before they were even in a relationship. So I don't know what the fuck. What the fuck's going on with that? Well, that's the thing. A lot of them make the deal with the devil for the short-term money. And a lot of them made a lot of money, a lot of money, a lot. And because these people come, like a lot of these creators that are surrounding him that stay, there, Meredith said last night that Nurse Kim said that she was afraid of Aiden, and that's why she doesn't sort of like do anything. And it's like, but is that okay to be misleading people because all these people are coming into your chat and giving you money because they were followers of Aiden, and now because Aiden says he likes you, like that's how it works. And yeah, I'm the devil. I'm so bad. You know what I mean? I'm terrible. I'm horrible. I'm awful. You know how many people have said to me, like, I was looking for a monster, but I didn't find one. I didn't find a monster. There was no monster. Where they said there was one, there just wasn't one. Like, there wasn't, It's not about free speech. And let me just point out that the judge already ruled on his case that it wasn't free speech. The charges left had nothing to do with free speech. It's literally in the decision that the judge gave. But I mean, he can keep pretending, which ones? You mean like Melanie Little and stuff, or the people that follow him now? I mean, there's a lot of shit going on, Can we compare TV to Jeffrey Epstein? Once wildly popular, then exposed, predicts TV's utter downfall, prison, bankruptcy, and worse. I mean, I think a lot of people have seen the light at this point, but there are still so many people that are under that spell, and I can see them on Twitter. Well, everyone else is bad, and Aiden couldn't have done this, and this, and it's so delusional because some of the things that they're saying he didn't do or wouldn't do are things he's blatantly done, and it's already out there. And I think a lot of these people are new to sort of watching him, but these are things he's been doing since before the Karen Reed stuff ever existed. And so it's like, let me show you, right? So here, I'll use an example of how people get brainwashed so easily, right? Back when I did the space with Chris and Lily, which was, oh God, I want to say October, November. It was October or November. Nonetheless, I did the space with them, right? And I'd been up there for speaking with them for like an hour or whatever. And I hopped down. My daughter was falling asleep next to me. So I hopped down just to like listen, right? And Larry and Valerie hopped up to speaker, right? And they immediately started just talking shit about me, right? Just immediately started talking shit about me. Well, I don't understand how you guys can even talk to her. She thinks Karen is guilty. I don't even understand how can you, right? Elise bad, right? Elise bad, right? And Chris said something along the lines, or maybe it was Lily, he said something along the lines of like, well, I mean, she changed her opinion, but we're here for a common goal. That trial is over and we don't have to agree on everything, right? And then their response was something like, well, aren't you free, Karen Reed? And he's like, Chris says like, yeah, and like, what's your point? Like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, what's that got to do with anything? And they're like, well, I don't understand how you can even talk to her. I just don't understand how you can even talk to her. Like basically sort of poo-pooing, right? And Chris or Lily are like, well, and they're like, well, she just changed her mind. I think Valerie was like, oh, she just changed her mind because Aiden bad, right? And that's why she changed her mind. And I forget if it was Chris or Lily, but one of them rightly pointed out, well, from my understanding, because I've spoken to both of them at that point, that's not it. But isn't that something you should ask her? Because that's not why I changed my opinion at all. I came into new information that changed my opinion, which I have said on my show 1 billion times over. 1 billion times in the last 2 years I've said this, right? I got new information, which made me change my opinion. Bottom line, right? So they're still saying like, oh, I don't know how you could even talk to her. Basically, Elise bad, blah, blah, blah. Brainwashed, right? This is the brainwashing that Aiden does. Elise bad. I said she's bad, so she's bad, right? I don't know how any of you people who are free Karen Reed can even talk to her because she's bad because Aiden said so. And it's like, I heard her last night on Meredith Spaces, and I stopped for a second when she said, and I quote, this is roundabout what she said. She said that MLF Pink Lady was saying how she had changed her mind on Aiden, and how people were giving her shit for it. And Valerie said something along the lines of like, well, if you get new information, and you change your mind, I respect people like that. I like people like that. And I just stopped. And I was like, wait a second, is this real fucking life? Wasn't the same person that just weeks ago waited for me to jump down from being a speaker to sit there and just bash Elise style for, existing and saying that I, changed my opinion, therefore I cannot be respected or liked or anything because I changed my opinion. That she asserted was because I think Turtleboy bad, which was completely wrong. Both Chris and Lily knew that, which is why Chris, I think at one point said, well, why don't you ask her that question, right? Because they both knew that wasn't the case. And so, but you just said, like, that's what you just said. And now in this space, you're saying you respect people who change their opinion and you like people like that. Well, to me, that seems more like you only like it hypocritically when it's someone that you, quote, have been in tune to like, and you haven't been brainwashed to hate. And this is where people who have been under his spell sort of get lost, where it's like, oh, he only does these bad things to people I like. The people he has trained me to hate and are bad, they're still bad, right? And it is so obnoxious because it's like, use your brain for 1 minute. Use those critical thinking skills that everyone has deep down inside, right? And take them and say, wait a second, these are the same. Do you think he like, whoop, did it to this person, did it to this person? Nope, skipped over these two people, did it to this person, did it to this person, did it. No, dude, he doesn't skip over the people he said is bad and not lie and not spin and not manipulate. Like, what? No, that's not, like, so let me get this straight. You respect people who change their mind when they come upon new information when you like them. But when Aiden trains you to hate them and they come across information that changes their opinion, then they're not to be liked or even talked to. I mean, that was probably the most hypocritical thing I've heard in a really long time. And I was shocked. I was shocked to sit there and listen to it because I was like, this is the same person that sat there and said that no one should speak to me. God forbid anyone speak to me because I don't think Karen's innocent. So therefore that means no one can speak to me at all because my opinion is different than theirs. And because Aiden said that I just changed my opinion because, Aiden bad, which is completely false and just utterly ridiculous. I could not like Aiden and also have the opinion that Karen's guilty as well based on my own analysis of things that I got for information, right? That's where I came to my conclusion. You don't have to agree with my conclusion. That's cool. We can agree to disagree. But what I will not say is okay is when you come and you're okay with talking shit about me and saying no one should respect me, no one should talk to me, no one should even be around me. I may joke just for existing, mind you, on this space. This is what I get. I'm a joke, I'm this, I'm that, right? And then fast forward, they attack her, right? They attack Valerie. She goes through all the same gaslighting and the lies and the crap that they do to her that they did to me, right? And then they do it to other people she knows. And now it's, you're allowed to change your mind about things if you come across new information. Does nobody see where the problem comes in? Now, I'm not picking on Valerie, right? This is just a good, explanation of sort of how people's minds have been trained to think about other people because he said so, in the way that he manipulates, right? In the way that he pushes his narrative, in the way that he spins things, in the way that he moves the pawns behind closed doors. Oftentimes he will tell certain people to do things, leak things, and talk about certain things so that he can chime in or so that he can pretend he didn't know this was going to happen. And then boom, he can talk about it, right? These are things he actively does every fucking time. These are patterns. It's not just a one-off. Didn't just happen one time, right? So this is the part where I'm just like, you guys are almost there, right? You're almost there with understanding who he is. But you cannot sit there and say, well, he's only done it to the free Karen Reed people I like. But all the people he said is bad, well, they all deserved it and fuck them. Like, come on. Like, really, use your brain, Use your brain. Well, that's the other thing. All the judges are biased against him, which is absurd, of course. Well, that's what they like to do, chop people down, Well, he's, admittedly very insecure. I actually loved the time that he told his audience that he's not a narcissist because he's insecure, and narcissists aren't insecure. Being insecure is one of the top like flags that you're a narcissist, is partly being insecure, and having to have control of other people, not caring about other people's emotions or feelings, being very underhanded, making light of something that you did that was bad, or making you sound more grandiose and exaggerating things that you've done to be more grandiose than they are. Nail right in the middle for Aiden. Like, that's exactly how he operates, you know? I don't think Cosgrove is going to be dismissed. There's this thing called prosecutorial immunity, and when she filed that suit, I wish maybe somebody around her would have told her there is not a very good chance that he's going to stay on it, because he's a prosecutor doing the duties of the office, so even if he makes a mistake, he's still covered under prosecutorial immunity. So there was really no point in suing him. It would have been a waste of time and money, because eventually a judge is just going to remove him off of there because of prosecutorial immunity. Sorry, I'm like super thirsty today, guys. While we're all here, there's almost 400 of you. If some of you who are on X would pop over to YouTube and hit the like button, I would appreciate that. If you would like to support the channel, I would appreciate it, because we're just a small channel, and of course Aiden does everything within his power to make sure that we can't survive and that I go away and shut up, and the channel has been struggling lately, because that's what he does. So any and all donations are welcome and very much appreciated. You can remain anonymous. I don't read people's like government names, only if it's their screen name, and if they're here, like if I don't see you in the chat, and your screen name's not attached to it, I just read it as anonymous. And you can always write right on it like anonymous. If you want your little note to be anonymous, you can just write anonymous and I won't read it. But I like to try to keep people safe from the cult, no matter who you are, because it's not acceptable for people to be attacked simply for speaking out or supporting someone who is speaking out. That's, unfortunate, but that's what they do, Yeah, the judge is not biased. That's not a thing. We have obviously the ways on the screen, and then we have a link in chat and also in the description that you can click on for debit or credit. And then we have an Amazon wish list, which is also in the description of the video. And then, like the screen says, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Revolut. The PayPal will pop up as Wicked Pearls. That's the right one. And we have Chime. Chime is the exact same thing as Cash App. Is she really an RN? I believe she is, yes, a nurse. I like Sean as well. I've always liked Sean. TV definitely belongs in jail, in my opinion. So that's the other thing, right? Is people saying things like he didn't commit witness intimidation, and it's like, have any of you read the Massachusetts statute? Like, they have him dead to rights under the Massachusetts law for witness intimidation. You might not like it, you might not agree with it, but they do. The law is extremely clear when it comes to witness intimidation, and he absolutely witness intimidated. And if it was anyone else's family, guess what? People, even the people who watch him, it would be, said right there. They would be right there, where it'd be like, hey, we need to go to the police station. This person is harassing us as witnesses. That's what I find funny is, he's the first person to say, don't trust the cops, everyone's corrupt. And then he runs and calls the cops over his missing shoe, to the point where the cops were like, hey, bud, we don't help find shoes. Maybe just go to sleep. I mean, just go to bed, And obviously, I don't know, Meredith said he had 2 other pairs of shoes there. I mean, here's the thing. Even if I was missing a shoe or I couldn't find it, then at least order myself an Uber, right? Like, I'd order myself an Uber. I would order myself an Uber or a Lyft. Here's the thing. It's not like he's low income and can't afford an Uber or a Lyft in a hotel. He could afford an Uber or a Lyft to a hotel if he wanted to leave. And he didn't do that. Why? My grandmother was Catholic too. Yeah, I didn't know about that until recently. And again, this space that I did with them was October, maybe beginning of November. I didn't find out about that until the other day. The thing that she gave him immediately afterwards. So I had no idea that that happened. It's always rules for thee, but not for me. That's how he operates no matter what. They do monitor stuff, but it seems also, again, people do have the First Amendment. If you go past that, that's, where it becomes a problem, We can all make mistakes. You must always take a chance on people. Then when you get to know this person and they're not doing the right thing, then you kick them to the curb. Well, that's the problem, is people just blindly believe whatever he says without actually getting to know someone. That's part of the issue, Well, that's all I can speak on is what she said to what Meredith said on the Spaces, which was that she had said that she was afraid. Now, what I can say is I do know that plenty of other people have said the same thing to me, right? So I can at least back up that plenty of people have said, they're afraid. Do I think it's also partly greed? Maybe, I don't think that it's black and white, right? And that's the thing, is it's not black and white. This whole thing is very complicated and has lots of colors. It is not just one or the other, or black or white. It's very, very convoluted and complicated, and there's so much going on, so much. Well, that's the thing. They also don't realize how many lies he told in the beginning of that case, and how they ended up being part of what people were thinking. Like when he told everyone there was taillight that was found on top of the snow for multiple months. And that never happened. There was no taillight that was on top of the snow. They dug for it. It was underneath. But for many months, he told everybody it was on top of the snow, right? There was a lot of things that he said that were just completely outright false that he never corrected on purpose and said. And it's that's part of it too, You don't recuperate something you never had, right? So that 300 grand he had, you can't recuperate that. That's something someone else gave, they gave it to you to help your defense. And it's cool. I don't knock anybody trying to help pay for their defense, but then you're saying you're trying to recoup money that other people, I'm so confused. How can you recoup something that was never yours to begin with? I don't think you can. You know what I mean? I don't think you can. What happened to that guy I was asking about? And family, how going to become a kids when she has kids. Wait, he said that about someone? That's not cool. I have a $20 donation from someone. It says, for being you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm not going to read your government name, of course. And then another anonymous one, so I'm not going to read your government name. And it says, happy holidays to you and your family. Anonymous. Thank you, Anonymous. I know who you are in chat. Thank you. Appreciate you, my friend. It's very kind of you guys. I don't think sometimes people realize how hard it is to run a small channel, and also behind the scenes have someone like him undermining everything you're doing on purpose to make sure that people don't support your channel or donate to your channel, or it's difficult, especially for a channel as small as mine. It's extremely difficult, and he does it on purpose, Hey, thank you, Aiden's Crushed Ego, for your $2 super sticker. It's so cute. I love those little chickies, and he's got sunglasses, which makes it even cooler. I think someone reported her, and the cult was super upset about that. They cheered Jess Machado on for calling and reporting Meredith their job. That's just fucked up. It's fucked up. Totally welcome. And it's just fucked up. You don't do that. You don't do that stuff. You just don't. You just don't. Hey, Ski, nice to see you. His name is Tom. Oh, like Tom CPU? Is that who you mean? Hey, Shannon, nice to see you. Back to the point is I wish people would have listened. And it's not for a lack of me trying, right? I think a lot of people are blinded, so blinded by what they want to believe and the way that he spins things to feed them, that they don't bother to get to know someone or ask questions of the person without being malicious, of course, right? They do plenty of things to be, assholes and malicious, but they don't bother to actually see what's really going on. And that's part of the problem. It's part of the issue. And it's like, all I really ever wanted is for people to take a step back and think for themselves for one moment. Like, well, hey, what if he's just spiteful? And I'm not the only one who was put in a really shitty situation, right? Like, he put quite a few people in very shitty situations, Mike being one of them, right? With the recording. And it's like, that's not my job to lie for him, and it's not anyone else's. But if you don't worry about it, Shay, no problem. If you don't lie, then you have consequences to deal with, right? Like, that's, by the way, it was nice to see you in chat yesterday. It was very nice to be in Mike's chat and just see people that I see here, obviously, who watch me, and other people that don't normally watch me, that stopped and took their time out of being in that chat to say, hey, Elise, like, we're seeing it now. Apologies to you. Like, that means more than people realize. That little apology means a lot, It does. It really, really does. It means quite a bit for someone to recognize that maybe they were wrong, and now they're seeing what I have been warning about for quite some time now. Like, the end goal here is always like to just warn people so they stay the hell away, right? Because it hurts my heart to watch more and more people be hurt over and over and over, most of which decent human beings, right? And I can't keep watching people be hurt over and over, people being so afraid to even go out of their homes. That's not normal, right? It's just not. Oh, I'm bad with my F-bombs in real life. I'm just like so bad. And with my F-bombs, I try not to swear as much on stream just because like YouTube does not appreciate it, and it will limit your ads if you swear too much. But well, he will. And that's the other thing. What is going to happen when he does that? Because he's working towards that at this point, right? He's working towards saying Karen was guilty the whole time, blah, 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 right? What happens when that happens? He's been working at that. I also fully believe, and this is just my opinion, right? But I fully believe like he's going to take a deal at the end of this case of his own, because he doesn't really have another choice but to take a deal. Because if he doesn't take a deal, all of his communications are coming out. They're coming out, and he cannot have that happen. Believe me, he cannot have that happen. So what does that leave him with? Catching a deal. And what are you going to need for a deal? What are you going to need with a deal? You're going to need someone to give them, or someone's to give them. And I have zero doubt in my mind that he is going to give them. Karen Reed and anyone else around him that he thinks is worth even a little bit, or knew about something that he illegally did, or anything. He's going to hand them all on a silver platter to make a deal. If it gets him out of jail time or gets him a lot lower jail time, like, he's going to make that deal 100%. And it's like, what happens then? What happens when he does that? Because the people who are saying right now, like, who here's the victim, blah, blah, blah. What do you think is going to happen when he does that? I mean, he's already showing himself to be blind. Some people just refuse to believe what's right in front of them, which I've seen happen, That's weird. How do you attack your own chat? Yeah, I swear, I'm pretty bad. I'm an F-bomber. I apologize. I'm an F-bomber. I'm an F-bomber, Brother counsel, yeah, he does. That's the thing. He's followed Aiden and has done Aiden's cases, and it's, I know it is gross, but you know, I try to keep them out. You know, God damn it. Well, lawyer, you know, unfortunately, also simps for Aiden, so not a fan over here at all. That's again just my opinion, but oh, I remember that. Yeah, I do. I remember that. That was the creepy video he made that we were all like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, who makes a video like that? Oh, I see what you're saying. So like she claims that she's too classy for a big fat fuck bomb and then uses them. Interesting. That's called pretending. I am not too classy. I'm from Boston. Also, I'd like to point out, like, posted this weird video of some guy speaking and said, "Oh, that's John Barron," because they sound alike. Newsflash, my husband probably sounds like John Barron. Probably every man from Boston sounds like John Barron because we have Boston accents and the men sound eerily similar. So, I mean, you could pretty much find any video with any guy from Boston speaking and be like, hey, that could be John Barron because they all sound like that. It's our Boston accent. We cannot magically make it fucking disappear. Like, can't make it disappear. It's there. And so I listened to like the little clip that there was of the guy speaking, and it was like, I think it was in an elderly place or a hospital or I don't know, it looked like some sort of like health place. And I'm like, okay. And it's like a small little clip, and the guy's like, get the fuck out of here, or something like that. Like something very Boston. You know what I mean? Like park the car in Harvard yard. Like something very Boston accent E, right? And I'm like, everyone fucking sounds like that. Literally, everyone from here sounds like that. So I'm confused. I'm so confused. How are you going to say this guy with this very small clip saying something very Boston-y is somehow John Barron because he said it very Boston-y? I mean, go to the center of like Boston Common and sit there and ask 5 people to say park your car in Harvard Yard. When I was in Florida, people literally kept asking me to repeat things like clicker. That's what we call a remote. We don't call it a remote. We call it a clicker. Or packy. We don't call it a packy. We call it a packy. It's not a liquor store. It's a packy, right? And so things like that, they would be like, can you say that again? Can you say that again? And it's like, I don't notice it because I'm from here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't notice it because I live here. But when you're somewhere else, when you're down south, you're like, people are asking you to repeat things, and you're like, is it really that bad? Like, is it that bad? But it's always the park your car in Harvard Yard, packy, clicker, rotary. There's like a few other ones that are just very New England-y that they don't use down south. And they will just have you repeat it over and over. And that's when you start to be like cognizant of the fact that you even have an accent. I mean, I guess it's kind of like being English or Australian and having that accent, but then going somewhere to like somewhere like here, like the US. And then people being like, oh my God, I love your accent. You don't even realize you have it until people are asking you to like say certain things and repeat certain things. And you're like, oh, blinka. That's the other one. Blinka. I'm going to say that one a lot. Blinka. Blinka. Like, no, we do not call it a, what do you guys call it? A directional. We don't call it a directional. It's a blinka. It's a blinka. It's not a directional. It's a blinka, just like the remote is a clicker. It's a clicker. Car. A turn signal. Okay, yeah, turn signal. We don't. It's a blinka. We call it a blinka. Gotta get some blinka fluid. Next time, one of you guys has to play that trick on someone. You tell them that they're out of blinka fluid, that they're gonna have to get themselves some blinka fluid. Someone who knows nothing about cars. I've played that trick so many times. You tell them they need what was the other one? My neighbor told me the other day, a couple weeks ago. Oh, winter air for your tires. That you need winter. You got to go in and get winter air for your tires. Wicked pisser. People like that one too. Pisser. We say that a lot. But I absolutely think he will eventually be like, well, Karen was guilty the whole time. He's working his way towards that. He'll say anything at this point. Doesn't matter. Well, that's the thing, though. It's not double jeopardy if it's federal. They could charge her federally with it, and it wouldn't be double jeopardy if they so chose to do so. So they would still be running the risk of being charged federally. You can be charged federally with the same crime you're charged with state-wise. So, you never know. Well, I think he's almost at that point. There's not really much left for him to lose at this point, And it is dangerous. It's already dangerous because he's already willing to do so. All these people are like, he's not that stupid to do all these things while he's out on bail. He's been he's been threatening people the entire time. He's been blackmailing people the entire time. He's been, trying to extort people the entire time. He's been wiretapping people the entire time. What the fuck do you think he's not willing to do at this point? He's been out on bail the entire time, and he's still doing all these things that are, newsflash, crimes. If you commit a crime when you're on bail, they can revoke your bail. But yet, here we are. He still will commit numerous crimes, assuming that no one will tell on him, because he threatens them into oblivion so that they don't tell on him, right? And so all these people are like, he's not stupid enough to put that in writing. He's not stupid enough to wiretap people. He's not stupid enough to commit crimes while he's out on bail. Oh, but he is, and he has. He's never stopped. That's the thing. So it's like, you can't say he's not stupid enough because, like, he is acting purely on emotion and not thinking, before he's doing shit. He just wants revenge. It's just petty. It's just spite, I mean, she did fangirl him a little bit. I think she worked in the same office as him. But for other things, I don't mind watching her for other things. But I have my own show, and so I'm usually, running this, and she's running that. Sorry, my phone's like dying. I'm gonna plug it in here. Oh, of course, that stupid light's gonna do that now. Hold on a second. Hold on. I'm also mad because my pop socket just broke and is like hanging on by a thread. I need a new pop socket anyway. So when I switch phones, I can put the new pop socket on the back. I don't know what to do without one. You can hold it very well to like take a picture, a video. Like it's helpful, man. It's fucking helpful. Yeah, I mean, you can still be classy and drop F-bombs. Imagine that. Imagine that. Just because you're classy doesn't mean you can't drop an F-bomb here and there. I certainly do. And so even the classiest of classy people drop an F-bomb here and there. They may not do it in public, but they do it. We drop more in public here in Boston than the normal people. I bet if they did some sort of study about which area in the United States dropped the most F-bombs, Boston would probably be at the top of that. Try to be. I'm not saying it isn't ridiculous. 3 years is ridiculous to try a witness intimidation case. But in my opinion, he also, dragged it out a little bit with certain things, the extract until they even got to the taint team. Although, again, 3.5 months for a fucking taint team is nuts to me. They should have been done going through just two devices. And yet they are not fucking done going through his 2 devices, and it's been 3.5 months. Now, if they get Karen Reed's phones, you're talking another probably 6 months for another taint team to go through her devices, and which is why I'm guessing they're not guessing they would even go to trial until November of 2026, because, it would be another 6 months just for Karen's device. So, it's already been fucking 3.5 months on his 2 devices, and taint teams usually have quite a few people on them. So it's like 3 years to try a fucking case. But again, this is standard for Massachusetts. It takes fucking forever. Oh, I agree with you. If he takes a deal, people should be pissed. But my opinion is that he will. That's just my opinion. That is my thought, is that he will take a deal. I'm not a huge fan of Bettero. Some people are. I'm not. I think there are some things that I've thought that he's just done that have been A, shady, and B, not worthy of saying he's a great attorney. There are some basic things that, to me, say, if you're that great of an attorney, you're going to know not to do this, this, and this. One of which being putting a fake medical condition called turtle derangement syndrome in a fucking legal document. Come on. Can't say that that's like top tier lawyering right there. Also, that mega motion could have been half as big as it was. It was a lot of repetitive narrative, in my opinion. Once again, that's my opinion. Yeah, so that's the other thing. The Lindsay Clancy case, the Brian Walsh case, these are all cases that are in Massachusetts from where we live. And so they're, it affects your community. It does, Yeah, I don't know why anyone would want to name call witnesses anyway at this point. I think, have we ever learned anything in all of this? It's what not to do, right? If we could all go back and do something differently, I think we all, at least I, would, I think it's a learning curve, but at some point people need to learn that there are just certain things that should not be done. We should not be accepting them as it's okay to do that for this person. And that's the other problem that I have with Aiden, which is he oftentimes will do the exact same thing that he is projecting or blaming someone else for. And when he does it, it's totally fine and okay, right? But when someone else does it, it's horrible, right? Talking about trying to get, charges on Meredith for, wiretapping, which you can't do if she was in Rhode Island, sorry to tell you. But you just said wiretapping is not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. Who cares if he did it to Karen? No one cares. It's not a big deal. He records everyone. He's not going to stop. He's not going to apologize. Everyone should record everyone. But now it's a big deal, right? Lack of self-awareness there is fucking astounding to me, Yeah, North Shore is a little different. Only we're going to be able to tell the difference of that, though, Jesse. North Shore versus South Shore versus middle of Boston. I think probably only people in Massachusetts will notice the difference of those 3 different areas of accents. That's the other thing is he puts her civil trial in some serious legal jeopardy with his mouth, which, a blanket. It's a blanket, goddamn. I do. I love the differences too. It's cool. Being in Florida was it's like a different world. I haven't been there in a few years, but it's literally like a different world. It is interesting. I find it interesting. A blinka, a nip. A nip is a shot, a shot in a bottle. It's a nip. We call it a nip. You guys not call it a nip? That's what it is. It's a little bottle. It's a shot that you get at the liquor store, packy, of a bottle of alcohol, the little one-shotters. That's a nip. You don't know what a nip is? Does anybody else not call it a nip? Is that a Massachusetts thing or a New England thing? If that's a New England thing, I'm going to laugh because I just assumed everybody knows what the fucking nip is. But then again, I also assume everybody knows what a blinker is and a clicker is. So I could be wrong. Could be wrong nonetheless. I could be wrong. Yeah, I do. that's a very real possibility, especially with Aiden sort of running his mouth. Oh, you're at Great Wolf Lodge. Have so much fun, Christina. The kids absolutely love it. I haven't been there in a few years, but my kids loved it. We especially loved the wand thing. We got capes and we did the whole wand thing, and it was a blast. It was interactive and it was a blast. I have a $10 donation. And it's a private message, it looks like, but it's a $10 donation from Anonymous. I appreciate this is a very kind little message, Anonymous, and I appreciate this very, very much. I don't think you guys realize, like, some of these, when you make these donations, some of these little comments are so uplifting, and sometimes it's nice to hear them. It's nice to feel like people are listening or do see you, and it does make a difference. You know, it's not often that I get more than a couple, donations in a stream, at least lately, because Aiden's made it his mission to shut me up, of course. But it's nice to hear kind words from people, and it keeps you going. Sometimes you get and even I get very frustrated. I get very discouraged. I'm human, right? I'm human. And sometimes I'm like, I'm going to have to shut this down. I'm going to have to shut the show down. I don't know if I can keep this running. Like, it's not even covering I don't. And then I have to remind myself, like, but then who is going to speak? Who's going to do it? And then I'm like, fuck, I just can't leave people hanging, like, out here. There's too many people that don't have a voice or who have been threatened into silence or oblivion. And it's like, I can't in good conscience just bounce, but at the same time, I can't spend money I don't have, right? Because I need to pay for groceries and I don't get help with none of that. So, so those little messages once in a while like that, like they make a difference. They really, really do. Yeah, it's a mini bottle of liquor. That's what a nip is. You guys didn't know? That's so funny. I thought we were like, everyone knew that, She meant rip a butt. Yeah, rip a butt. Going to see the strippers. Yeah, friggin' right. That's fun. Let's do it. I'm in. I didn't know you guys didn't know that. Nip or a sleeve. Yeah, a sleeve is like 10 or 12, depending on like the brand. It's either 10 or 12. I do think, the feds have been looking into some of this stuff with him specifically for quite some time now. Yeah, nip is nip. Well, it is short for nipple. That's also true. That's also true. Soda, we just call it soda, but I guess down south they call it pop. I have a cousin who lives in Florida, and she was telling me that they call it pop, and I'm like, yeah, no, we just call it soda, or the name of the soda: ginger ale, Pepsi, Mountain Dew. Right? The club going crazy. Oh, they're going out of business, right? So I think it was Jesse that told me they were going out of business, and I was like, no freaking way, dude. I want to buy one so bad. My favorite smell is like the fresh linen or clean linen smell, or the like ocean smells. Like it's like it'll be like ocean vibes or ocean breeze. Like, oh, those are such good smells. Or like a good vanilla cinnamon, or like vanilla cupcake, or like confetti cupcake. It smells so good. I like the wax melts. I don't know if Yankee has those, but I have a wax melter that I use. And I absolutely love the wax melts. They smell so good. Wisconsin calls soda. Our neighbors in Minnesota call it pop, like a bunch of crazy. Yeah, so that's what my cousin said. She lives in Florida. She calls it pop. He is incredibly short. You're right about that, Mindy. And to me, very grotesque, but not my cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? I like a manly man, a little scruff to him. My husband's got a full-blown beard. My husband's very fit, so, but yeah, not my cup of tea. No, thank you. No, thank you. He puts everyone in harm's way. And I hope that she does see that he could put her in a lot of harm's way, Yeah, he doesn't like talking about his short arms. He doesn't like talking about it. gets very upset if you talk about his short arms. He doesn't like it. He's very, very insecure about his very short arms. Right? He doesn't like it. Well, I don't like when you threaten and blackmail people, sir. So guess we're even. Yeah, she definitely doesn't kiss his ass, which is nice to see. That's for sure. I've never seen ADB kiss his ass or anyone else's for that matter. A little simping for Alan Jackson there in the beginning, but nothing crazy, Sody. That's probably just like a kid's shortened version of like, can I get a sody? The kids like to shorten everything now. Everything. Yeah, mini bar bottles. Yeah, it's a nip. That's what we call it, a nip. I'm surprised some of you guys didn't know that. Maybe that is like a Boston or a New England thing, I love the mustache. It's hilarious. Mustache, a question. I should put this on for the diary of a wimpy sewer turtle when I do that shtick. We can thank you for that, Wallflower, because you so very kindly. I got to get to the phone store so I can actually switch these things because mine has been crapping out more and more lately. It's freezing. It's not giving me my text messages at times. I'm not getting notifications when I'm getting text messages. I'm seeing them like minutes or even an hour later. It's not dinging. So I really got to get to the store. And well, I have a doctor's appointment in the morning. So maybe Ashley can bring me by on our way home because she's bringing me to my doctor's appointment in the morning. I have a doctor's appointment once a month and I got to go in the morning. So I'll have the trial on. Don't worry. I'm just going to bring the phone with me. I'll have the trial on these screens here, and then I'll bring the phone with me and add myself as like a second one of myself so that I can pop in and out. The only thing is we don't get, commercials or anything, but I won't be able to like switch to a different screen while I'm not home, if that makes sense. So it'll just be on the trial. I won't be able to switch off of it and show you anything else. I can talk about other things, but I can't switch the screen when I'm not here. But we'll have the trial on and ready to go. Well, that's the other thing. She has a solid following, and with someone with that many subscribers, she could basically sustain her channel on just like memberships alone. Unfortunately, unless you have, 30, 40, 50,000 subscribers, that's not possible. They make it really hard for small creators, I'll tell you that much. Dollar Tree has them. I got to get one. I don't care where it's from, as long as it sticks. I would just leave all of LawTube if she and Peter were Aiden Sims. Peter who? I mean, the lawyer, he has Sim for Aiden quite a bit. Maybe you didn't know that, but that's, yeah. She also had to live through the Nick Rakita downfall. Oh, yeah, I bet she did. They're going to squeeze him and he'll take a deal, and the Whiplash writers will fall in line again. Well, that's the thing. I do fully believe in my heart that that's what will happen, is that he'll take a deal. But again, that's my opinion. Yeah, the lawyer, has had Aiden on numerous times and gone on his. No, they have, but they're still doing it. 3.5 months later, they're still going through them. Like, what the fuck is taking you so long? A team has more than a couple people on it. Like, what are you doing? I know. I do. I don't know what, half the room is a playroom for the kids. So it's like, I've been doing stuff in here the last couple of days anyway. And so like, I had to move everything onto this table because I needed my rolling cart for Riley's birthday party. And like, it's in the kitchen right now. And like, I got to get my Christmas stuff out of my storage unit. And it's like a whole rigmarole, man. I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll fix it. It's because my husband was in the closet, so he forgot to put it back up. See how he was in the closet, didn't shut it all the way because he's such a man. He's such a man, and he forgot to close the closet all the way. I love this sweatshirt. It's like big on me, but I like them big because I like to have some room in them, and this one has a lot of room. But this Justice for the Silenced hoodie that's in my shop, I made specifically for Aiden's victims, many of them. But it also applies to anyone who's been in this sort of situation where you feel that you have been silenced in any way. You deserve justice and you deserve a voice too, right? And so this sweatshirt means a lot to me specifically. I also do love my Sipping on Turtle Tears cup. from my shop, one of my favorite cups to drink hot cocoa or tea out of, which I had tea out of it yesterday, because then I'm literally sipping on turtle tears. Oh, he did? Weirdo. Why am I in your motion, you weirdo? No, I don't like you because you're a liar, right? What the fuck? My background isn't messy. It's just moved. It's not messy. It's moved. It's a shelf. The shelf is fine. I moved. That table's always going to be there because once again, this is still also a playroom for my children on the other side. It's my office on this side of the room, and on that side, if they play games and Barbies and like, so you know what? So be it. I'm a mom. I don't care. I don't think my background is that important. Me neither. I've never seen anything like it in my life, you know? Yeah, no, people don't. They really, really don't. Yeah, no, she's dead serious. He did. It's like a picture of us in this stupid motion. Like, one day I hope to be in a place where I can do a lot of that, Yeah, which is like one of those in the fake better letters with the purple crayon, turtle derangement syndrome. It's not an actual thing. Yeah, it needs a touch up for sure, but it's Sunday, so I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing shit today. I don't care. It's Sunday, and I'm tired. My husband had an overnight softball tournament because, he never gets to do those anymore, and they're indoor in the wintertime, obviously. And my daughter was sleeping over a friend's house, so that's what did. Right? Do I rent that much space? Like, geez, how much is rent? Oh, I'm sure, which is so ridiculous. It's like if you think that's going to sway a judge, I mean, any judge is going to be like, okay, what? Like, what? That's weird. Like, that's weird. I don't blame you, Dougie, at all. I mean, technically, it is also shortened for nipple. You are right. They are. But so what happened now is since that she filed it first, what it's going to happen is it's going to end up being like a countersuit. So what happened really is Karen sort of saved them the hassle and money of sort of starting it themselves. And when they did it, and I almost think that was strategic, because why announce a lawsuit before you're going to drop the lawsuit unless you want them to do that? In my opinion, that's what happened, right? You announce it, she drops hers, and then now you can countersue without dropping all that money to start the suit itself. Now it just becomes the countersuit. So a lot of them are, and it's unfortunate because it hurts my heart, I call it a nip too. Nipples, nips, Here it can be anything. It doesn't have to be whiskey, vodka, whatever comes in the small bottles at the, or a sleeve of them at the liquor store. Hey, Ellen. You didn't get your wands yet? Oh, it's the best fun. I loved it. It was so fun. Yeah, there's a great wolf. I don't think it's in Mass. It's in Connecticut. There's one in Connecticut and there's one maybe it is in Mass, but like way out. It's not anywhere close. It's like hours away, unfortunately. Maybe it's New Hampshire. But I know there's like a newer one, I think in Connecticut. YouTube Beach. Respectfully, why would the feds do anything to Karen when they're experts? Well, the feds have been looking into Aiden for quite a while. So, I mean, that's just a fact. That's unfortunate for the turtle riders, but that's a fact. It is a lot sometimes. It literally is. I probably would love South Louisiana. I haven't been to some of those states down there, like Louisiana. Kind of want to visit Texas. A beer called a nip. That is interesting. Yes, witness intimidation, conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. That's something that the feds are looking into. We do have our own lingo language for sure. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you again. Ocean breeze. Yeah, that's the one. That's what it smells like. I love it. Vanilla cupcake. Those smells are amazing. What? Oh, for the large one, those are usually like 30 or 40 bucks. Ugh. If I could afford that right now, that'd be the first place I would go, is the Yankee website. Right? Thanks, Jesse, for the tip for everybody. Now they know, right? Oh, vanilla. Yep. See, smells so good. Vanilla cupcake is one of my favorites. It smells delicious. I do like, they do have wax melts. Oh, I love the wax melts. I like the candles too, though. I haven't had a really good Yankee candle since I got married, which was, over a decade ago. Somebody got us one that was like wedding something, like that was the smell. I agree. There's been a lot of damage all around. I mean, Aiden's created such a nonsensical crap. Hey, Maestro! Right, the idea is properly spilling the beans on celebrate behaviors. Wait, now? Right now? Or did I miss that? I know, I do. I'm putting up my tree probably today, later on. But see, we can do that, right? We can agree to disagree and then, move on to something. Hey, Stones, nice to see you. Let's see. I'm trying to get down to the bottom. Oh, you're at the craft fair? Oh, I'm so jealous. I love craft fairs. That's a great place to pick up, you know, gifts for people, It is. Thank you to everyone, always, This name still has me feeling like I'm wearing someone else's socks. I know, see, but this is why I still address you as Maestro, because, they wouldn't let you have your name. They were like shadow banning you, and I don't like it because that's who you are now, right? You're Maestro. You're murdered by Maestro. Like, you know? Well, that's part of the problem, right? Is it sets this precedent that it's okay to do these things and to make a bunch of money. And I had to make a choice. Was that something I was comfortable with or not? And it was not. So, it has been a minute too. I haven't watched him in a while, but I was just highly disgusted with his support of Aiden. Hey, Claire. Did you not see the post from Meredith with Aiden asking her to bring the Celebrate thing with you? Was that the ones yesterday, or the ones where he was claiming like she stole the extraction, but then she posted the receipts of like him asking her to like do things with the extraction? Like, what? Yeah, he went in there because he didn't shut the freaking closet all the way. They are comfy. They fit perfectly. But yes, it's one of my favorite sweatshirts. It is, because it means something, You shorten everything, not just the arms. TMI, man, TMI. I did not need to know that. Not that it hasn't been on the internet quite a few times, but yeah, mini bar bottles. We call them nips. I think we call them nips. If I could go back, I might not have followed this case, because I could have never imagined that this is what we were going to deal with when I decided to cover the case, Right? I should go to the front desk clerk of my hotel and ask for the room cleaners to come rearrange my room. Hey, cleaners, can I get, one of those, do they have one of those envelopes that you're supposed to leave like a tip in? Imagine. If I could get housekeeping, that would be amazing. Then I wouldn't have to be the housekeeper, right? Or AKA the maid. Everybody seems to think I'm a maid, Oh boy, which ones? Can you send them to me? Because I probably have not seen them then, the latest ones. I just heard my neighbor say, oh my fucking God, are you kidding me? That's Boston for you. Oh, he's looking at his phone and his girlfriend outside with his dog. And he's saying, oh my fucking God, are you kidding me? That's hilarious. Could hear that right through the window. That is freaking hilarious. If I had to do it over, I think the only reason why I would do it again is because I've met so many Fitchburg, that's it. Yep. I've met so many of you that I might not have met otherwise, right? And for that, to me, is the silver lining in all of it, right? It's the silver lining in all of it is that I've met some pretty amazing, awesome people along the way that maybe I wouldn't have met otherwise. It's you guys, you know? Yeah, I've been one who sat in and watched them like in person and obviously online. And I'm just, law is something that I've studied pretty much my whole life since I was that witness as a kid on the stand. It's something I knew in that moment. It was just like one of those aha moments that I was just like, the defense attorney's there and he's like asking me the same question, but like in three different ways, trying to trip me up with the answer. And I'm like, you already asked me this 3 times. I'll give you the answer again. Even at 12, I understood enough that he was like trying to get me to somehow change my, answer, which wasn't going to change. Right. And so the art of it, the art of him asking me the same question, but in 3 different ways, I was just like, this. Like being on the stand as a witness, I was just like, this is fascinating. Like, this is what I want to do. Right. Wedding day. Thank you. Yes, that's the one. Ooh, jelly bean. I didn't think there was one called jelly bean. 6, 7. You gotta do this. Because if you do this, the kids get mad, right? You gotta do this. OJ had huge attention to that trial. Huge. But look what happened over the years with that one, I love, sporting small businesses. I am essentially a small business. I file as a sole proprietor on taxes because I am a small business, I think there's like a dozen or so Great Wolf Lodges. I don't know how many exactly, but I know that there's at least like a dozen or so on the East Coast. There's like one place, it's either North or South Carolina, that has the whole wand thing, but it's an entire like building of just that thing. And I'm like a child. I'm dying to go to it. I'm like a child. I'm like, I want to do the wand thing. And it's like an entire building of it. Instead of Great Wolf Lodge having just a part of the thing, the interactive like wand quest thing, there's an entire building in North or South Carolina that you can do it in, interactive. And I'm like, ooh, that's so fun. That's like as fun to me as like an entire building being one giant like laser tag melee. Like, let's do it. I'm a child inside. Let's do it. Oh, the chase. That's where I started, was the chase. Hey, Kimmy. The chase is where I started watching the OJ trial. See, I mean, and everybody has their own opinion. I found all of you, which I love. Right? That's the silver lining, right? The amazing people. Yeah, the amount of time and the amount of money that law school is sometimes puts it out of the range for people, unfortunately. And that's the silver lining, right? Is that it's all over the world. Did my volume drop? Did it? Did it? Jesus, did it? Maybe because I moved away from it. Sometimes I push it away if I think it's too close to my face. So could be that I just moved it when I was talking. Yes. Yes, we can, Joan. Yes. We absolutely freaking can, my friend. I know you missed most of the show, Kimmy, but if you start from the beginning later, my friend, I go into all of the why Aiden decided I was bad in the first place. And it was basically simply this: I didn't lie for him, and I accidentally sort of kind of ratted him out and it wasn't on purpose either, for being a cheating piece of human garbage. But again, I didn't do it on purpose. And so then that was the moment that he decided I needed to go away and shut up, which is like, don't put on me what you did. I mean, he did, again, he likes to do that, put it on everyone else, his own actions, and then blame everybody else when it gets out there. And then he's got to cover his tracks, so he's got to lie some more. And he puts a lot of people in those positions. And I think what the people who are still following with him don't realize is he will put them in those positions. And one by one, it's sort of a, pattern of behavior where each person is going to deal with it. Each person he's going to attack. Each person ultimately is going to have to deal with the melee that is Aiden. Simply because they didn't do what he wanted. They didn't fall in line. They didn't, it's a pattern. He does the same thing over and over and over, Absolutely. See, that's the thing. I know that people have been trained, and we talked about this a little earlier, that I'm like some sort of bad monster person. But that's just not reality. It's not even close to reality. And a lot of people, obviously, their interest was piqued by just him saying I'm bad, and they come and they check and they're like, where is this monster that I was told existed? Like, what is happening here? Where is this monster? I don't see a monster. Because there isn't one. There never was, right? I'm just simply a normal human being like everyone else. I'm a mom. I have health issues. I got kids. I have a husband. I'm a wife, you know, and I'm normal. I'm just normal like everyone else. My past struggles of, addiction when I was much younger come from years of being abused as a kid and then into young adulthood by my abuser. And so I was trying to kill a lot of pain back then. I was young. But I went full circle from someone who dealt with drug addiction to 18 years later, here I am. Been sober that long, and I went full circle from someone who sat in a jail cell for petty possession to someone who worked in a prison for the criminally insane, right? Like that was my career in corrections, and unfortunately I got sick with a lot of illness that I have now, and also I couldn't afford the childcare anymore for my little. And so there's, various things going on. I have different circumstances in my life than other people have, right? And so using other people's pain or other people's bumps in life as some sort of gotcha or some sort of they're bad now because this is what they went through. And like each bad thing, each trauma that I have taught me something, good and bad, right? Taught you what not to do, taught you what to do, how not to be, what to be. And maybe if I didn't go through all those things, I wouldn't be as sympathetic or empathetic or care as much about people in general if I didn't go through some of those things. And so I don't, do I wish that I didn't have to go through some of those things? Yeah. I mean, I'm still dealing with harassment from these people pretty much daily. It's been 2 years. That's not okay, right? It's not okay. And every time, a new bout of it starts up when he wants to shut me up a little more. And that's not okay. That's not okay. So essentially anybody who speaks out has to deal with that. And it's always everyone else's fault. And that's just not okay. It's not everyone else's fault. It's not everyone else's fault that he gets himself into these situations and then other people don't have to lie. It's not. It's not our job to lie. Always a great group, my friends. No, I get it. I think both are guilty myself, but it's again, and I love that, again, my chat is probably one of the only ones, at least that I'm aware of on YouTube, that can agree to disagree on things. And it's still very full of a community, full of people that care about each other. They can be civil and not attack one another and still agree to disagree on things that they don't agree on, right? And see that right here, perfect example. I appreciate and respect your opinion. And that's all we have to do is appreciate and respect that someone else's opinion is different than ours. We don't need to attack them. We don't need to call them names. We don't need to, talk about their real life or why we might think that they're, quote, bad, right? And Aiden's way of doing it is really just to distract from what he's always done and his patterns of behavior. He's tried to get fake charges on every ex he's had. He's used the unaliving himself to get them to stay. Every ex, every single one of them, going all the way back to Leah, right? Which you guys know I'm friends with Leah. So like these are things that I know, okay? And so these are things that happen every time he breaks up with someone. They try to leave him and he does not let them go. He does not let them go. He uses every tactic imaginable, including using the word sabotage, which he used numerous times. He used it with Lauren, he used it with Kara, he used it with Lindsay, now he's using it with Meredith. I mean, using the word you're sabotaging my this, and this, or that, and that. You know what I mean? That's to get you to do what he wants you to do, to make you feel bad. It's a manipulation tactic. I find it funny that he is still using the word sabotage. You're just trying to sabotage my defense. You're just trying to sabotage my life. You're just trying to destroy me. He uses that a lot on people. In the last week, he's been in a lot of people's DMs who are disagreeing with him and starting to see him for who he is, being like, you're a supporter of mine, or you were a supporter of mine, trying to coax them to come back. You're believing this over what I tell you? Yeah, because it's blatant. that some of the shit you're saying is just not true, bro. I mean, it's clear, right? Like, and I mean, oh, Sharon, and you never will. You never will, my friend. You never will. But it's funny that you can make light of it, because I sometimes make light of the stupid shit he says about me. Like that I'm just a dropout. Bro, my student loans say otherwise, and if you would like to pay them, that would be great. I graduated with a baby. Like, I had a baby, 3 days after my 18th birthday. I graduated. My graduation picture is me in my cap and gown with my baby in my arms, with the G-tube that she had at the time taped to her face, up her nose and down her throat. Like, I graduated with a baby, and I have college student loans that I still owe, with penalties, probably like $3,000 still that I owe. But like, what? I think my student loans say otherwise. Like, he just wants to paint this picture that I'm just some uneducated idiot. It's just not fact. It's patently false, right? Along with pretty much everything else he spews. I'm not if you have to pay for it yourself, it adds up to about 30 to 40 grand a year. It's the equivalent to what rent is per month in childcare. And if you have more than one child, it's even more. It's even more. So the answer is that yes, it can go up to as high as 60 grand, depending on where you go. And there's also, you have to find a slot. Making $23 an hour and change is too much for you to get assistance. So no, we don't get food stamps, contrary to what he claims. I don't live in a hotel, contrary to what he claims. You know what I mean? Like, they're just nonsensical bullshit, AZT-spiracy. I don't know. Does it sound familiar? But I can't place it. But it's funny that you can still make a light of it, but not funny that he said it to you. You know what I mean? Like, go die in a hole. This is what he keeps telling people. Go die in a hole. When you say something he doesn't like, or something he doesn't even read correctly in his own chat, he tells his own supporters to go die in a hole. Like, or if anybody questions anything that he says, or says, well, hey, I saw something that, kind of contradicts what you're saying, Aiden. Like, he flips out and tells them to go die in a hole. Why waste your time? The only time I've ever flipped out is when I thought somebody was disrespecting my mom. And I will not put up with that. I will not. And I agree, he's dangerous. Yeah, it's absurd, right? Again, you're talking about 2 bedrooms being $2,500 a month. Anywhere from $2,000 to even $4,000 if you get closer to Boston a month for a 2-bedroom in rent without any utilities included. Our childcare is through the fucking roof. Through the roof. It's unaffordable. It's unaffordable. Education is very important. I drilled that into my children because I couldn't finish school because of like all the medical with my kid and just life circumstances. I drilled to my children that it is very important for an education, right? I was not able to finish my education. And so I tell my kids, like, that's an important thing. Like, you want to be able to not struggle like me. You want to, and here's the thing. If I had the connections, I could probably work at a very high company making quite a bit of money. I'm an intelligent person, but it's more about who you know at that point, right? But I drill it into my children's mind, and they're smart. All 3 of my girls excel in reading and writing, all of them, which doesn't shock me at all. They all struggle with math and science because they find it boring. Not a shocker. I was the same way as a kid. I found it boring. I didn't really pay attention to it that much because I passed with like a B, but it wasn't something that I was like, I was in like AP English and I hated it. Hated the AP English classes in high school. They were horrible. But this is just another instance of him just saying shit just to say shit. Why say shit that isn't true? You know what I mean? Why? I'm going to try that. That is something I've been talking with someone who's done it before about, possibly trying to get the rest of it forgiven. Because it's only like $3,000 the penalties for being late with the rest. But I do think he's dangerous. You know, people think, oh, well, you can't say he's dangerous. He didn't punch someone in the face. You don't need to punch someone in the face to be dangerous. Saying the things that he does are dangerous because he manipulates people in a way where they believe him, you know? And that's the other problem. Sam's right here. He's only going to get more desperate, more dangerous, and more with nothing to lose. And then what? He's going to lash out even more. He does all the time. The amount of clips I get sent where he's telling people to go, that's his favorite thing is die in a hole. Go die in a hole. Who says that? Who freaking says that? That is sick. You know? Oh, yes, it's always that's always a shield. Oh, you're trying to take me away from my kids. That's his famous thing to say to people, publicly and privately. You want me to be taken away from my kids? Do you know how many people he DM'd this week and said that to? I'll give you a guess, more than a dozen. You want me to be taken away from my children? That's his excuse. Like, dude, stop it. For the love of God, stop with that nonsense. That's just crazy. You know? Crazy. That's insane. Aw. I have a PayPal from Claire. Thank you, Claire. It says, happy Sunday, and it's $50. Thank you, Claire, so much. I appreciate you, my friend. I appreciate you. Claire always supports me, and I appreciate that. All I did was tell him I thought he was leading a cult. He could have just said, I disagree. I never heard his response. It is what others told me. So for me, like, if I think that someone's like making an insult or something like that, like, my mods know to just remove them. I'm not gonna deal with it. It's too exhausting to deal with every single part. Like, I just block or remove and call it a day. I've unblocked plenty of people. You know, I'm not somebody who holds grudges forever. If somebody's, you know, woman or man enough to apologize to me and ask me to unblock them, I've done it for many people. Life is short. Life is fucking short. And I'm a people person. I happen to actually like people. And I feel for people who didn't really realize what they were getting into until they were in it. And it's unfortunate because I feel like people got caught up in something that they didn't bargain for. I certainly didn't, that's for sure. You know, it's unfortunate. Yeah. Yep. So childcare would be before and after school, or if you would just need after, or if you just need before, either one. If you want to pay for like full-time daycare, it's going to cost a little bit more. Like if your kid's not of school age, but yeah, it's only a couple hours, like before school or after school. Most of them close by 6 or 7, and you're talking hundreds of dollars a week, not a month, a week, per week. It's insane. It's nutty. The prices, it's nuts. Listen, I never assume someone's an addict or not, but I will tell you that being someone who was an addict once in my life, I definitely see tendencies, if that makes sense. Doesn't necessarily mean someone's an addict. You see the tendencies of like addiction, which could also be like people have addictions to like coffee. I have one of those. Or shopping, specifically for like shoes or bags or, you know, whatever. But mental health, yes, I would have to agree. I worked in mental health for a long time. I have CPTSD myself. I do see some possible, and again, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychiatrist. I've just worked around a lot of people in the mental health field. I worked with the criminally insane and a lot of like borderline personality disorder, or maybe borderline or narcissistic personality disorder. Those are my opinions. But that's my opinion, that he definitely has some mental health issues. Maybe he should get some. Listen, I'm still in therapy. Sometimes I feel like, and even when it came to my dad, right, that men get like the shit end of the stick when it comes to like mental health. And I think my dad might have even been like ashamed, right? Who wants to, as a man, say, I need mental health help and need to speak to a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist? Not many, especially men. And I say there's no shame in it. If my dad hadn't felt that way, maybe he would still be here with us today. There is no shame. I have been in therapy for years, and it also takes the right therapist. You can't just have one that is just like, oh, well, how do you feel about that? I do not click with a therapist that's just going to say, well, how do you feel about that? I can't do it. Like, it has to be someone that's like, that I click with, and I've had the same therapist for multiple years now. I don't think she's going to do that. No, I don't think she's going to take all her documentation to the cops. I honestly, what it seems like really is that, like, if he stopped, she would stop. I feel like that's what it looks like. I mean, again, I could be wrong. That's my fucking opinion. But if I feel like if he stopped talking about it, then maybe she would too. And then they could just both move on. Right. Like, I feel like that could be a solution, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, I don't think either one of them is going to stop talking about it. So, I mean, but that would be in a perfect world. Like, people could just move on and just, $7 a week. Oh my God. Are you guys hearing this in the US? $7 a week for childcare? What? God, I wish. I wish. I wish. Yeah, nobody should be targeted like that. Yes, thank you, Claire is right. Well, that's the other thing. Some people have children with special needs. My daughter, she's obviously old enough now. She's an adult now, but a young adult, but she has G tubes and takes certain medications that go through the G tube. And so you can't plop someone like that into a regular child care facility. You don't have an option as a parent. Thankfully, though, with her, I had family that could help me at the time. My grandmother mainly. My grandmother died when my little was born, so close to 10 years ago. But I had my grandmother at the time, and she helped out a lot with my daughter. But my grandmother was an RN, which was very helpful, I'll tell you that much. But a child like that can't just be plopped in a daycare center or child care center. So as a parent, you don't really have a choice. And people seem to forget that all the time. Since they don't go through something like that, it's right out of their mind as it ever even being a thing. They're like, oh, well, there's no reason you can't do X, Y, and Z. And then someone explains to them why they can't. And they're like, well, what about this? And you're like, that's not going to work because of this. Like, they come up with solutions in their head that are not feasible to your circumstances. They might be feasible to their circumstances or their funding, but it's not feasible to your circumstances and your funding. I don't necessarily think it's Bridal that wants to drag it out another year. I honestly think if they're anticipating maybe getting Karen's device, that would take another 6 months alone. And then you have to think about how many months would it take them to go through all of that material, right? Another couple months. So, I mean, I think even the judge in Cosgrove knew it would take a while. How long exactly? I don't know. That really would depend on whether Krupp gives them Karen's device or not. If Krupp doesn't give them Karen's device, then I think that November date could be pushed up exponentially. But if Krupp does, then I think November is probably where it's going to be, unfortunately. You're welcome. You are welcome. Aw, my nephew has autism, so I feel you guys. Yeah, but even as a grown man, autism is something that doesn't go away, and so they still struggle even in adulthood. Their brains don't work in the same way that ours do, not neurotypical, Aw, I love that. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I know crazy when I see it. Oh, you guys always make me laugh. Oh, so funny. Right? $7. Jesus Christ. I wish. See, look at this is what happens and this is why I share so much with you guys about my life. And it's because, do you see like how if you share something, someone else might have something similar and you can connect with that person, right? And then maybe, just maybe, y'all could help each other out in a way, right? Whether it's moral support, emotional support, or just having that connection of that thing that you've gone through or are going through or have that is the same as them in any sort of circumstance sort of helps both people, right? Have a feeling of like, okay, I'm not the only one. Like I'm not alone, right? Like someone else is dealing with this too, and I can relate to that person, right? And that's part of the reason why I am more of an open book with you guys and share so much with you guys, because I hope that people can relate to each other and me. You know, my life is normal like everyone else's. I go through struggles like everyone else, you know? Yeah, I think it's at this point, it's just going to keep going back and forth, right, at least right now, you know? Yeah, I mean, if you look, I took psychology classes way back when, but psychology is something that I was just wicked fascinated in. And it was something I, not recently, but in the recent past had delved back into. It's fascinating. It is. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. It's obvious once you see it, and that's kind of the problem, you know? Yeah, toss in any medical conditions, and they're like, that's a no go. They'll say they cannot properly care for your child, you know? The autism whisperer. I love that. Aww. See, but I love that she finds fulfillment in that work, you know? Like I found a lot of fulfillment working in the prison. It's one of my favorite places I've ever worked. Was working at the prison. My sister-in-law has Down syndrome. She can't be left alone, you know, and she's in her 40s, but she's the brain of a child, you know. It's the reality, you know, and so that's something that everyone has to. Welcome, Kathy. Well, you're not a lurker anymore, right? You are now officially not a lurker, my friend. I do. I take pride in it, and it was nice to go. Oh, I love that. You have to send me. You have to text me the pictures of you and the doggy when you get them, because I need to see the cuteness. I need to see the cuteness. Have a good day, my friend. Um, wow, I've been here 3 hours and 18 minutes already. Holy. Just looking up at the numbers to see, like, there's 466 people watching on X, one person on Facebook. Facebook's not, you did lurk for months. To be fair, some people do lurk for quite a while. quite a while, they do. And that's okay, you know? Darvo. Yep. That's something I learned a long time ago. It's something I think everyone should be acquainted with at some point. It is what that is and how it works, you know? Absolutely. Sunday's always been the day, just hasn't been recently. Let's put it that way. Recently it hasn't, you know? Oh, I love that so much. That warms my heart so much. Listen, I was a teenager in foster care, and most kids know after the age of like 12 or 13, you're not getting adopted, right? Like there's nobody, it's very rare that a teenager gets adopted, and it's harrowing, right? For the kids, because at that point they're like, I'm just too old, nobody wants me, right? And so they have resigned themselves to realizing that like they're not going to be adopted, and they're going to age out of that system. And at the age of 17 and a half to 18, they're going to be booted out on the street with nothing and no one, not a penny, not a nothing. And I think our system, as far as that goes, needs to do better. You know, I had a family, so they let me go at 17 and a half. And thankfully I had a family, you know, my grandparents I could go right back to. And they fought to take me, and that took way too long. But nonetheless, I had grandparents I could go back to. Not everybody had that or has that. Some of these people don't have anyone or anything. And I know what that's like now, right? Because like fast forward in time, I don't have many alive family members at all. I don't have that kind of support, and it sucks when you don't have parents and grandparents or someone to call to be like, hey, can I borrow $20? Hey, I need like, you know, I ride to the store, like, you know what I mean? Oh, girl, I use it in everything. I use Sassone in everything. I use it on the ground beef and in the sauce. So I use it on the ground beef that I put in the sauce and then a little bit in the sauce. I don't put it like on the spaghetti, but it's already in the sauce a little bit and in the ground beef. And I also use the adobo with Sassone. So it's delicious. I also use some cracked black pepper, a little bit of garlic. You can use powdered garlic. I like to use minced, but delicious. Just saying. He'll get there though, it takes a lot of time and a lot of like every day doing the same thing at the same time, especially with autism. They like that. So like you change up that routine, like they don't do well with that. So you gotta keep that routine, and that's where they sort of thrive. At least with my nephew, I know that's the way it has been. I love that. Kids in college are so goddamn expensive though, you know? Ooh, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ellen. I actually just had that happen. It's not a nice feeling. All the seasonings, all of them. It's exactly why, you know? Oh, I'm sorry. Believe me, I know what it's like to have a substitute mom. Here's looking at you, Wallflower. When you need one. Even as adults, we still need a parent. My dad died when I was 21, so I mean, I think everyone needs it, even if you're, I'm in my late 30s, obviously. Like I still need a mom and a dad, and I don't have a dad. So what I have is a fill-in mom. And I couldn't be more grateful because if I have mom type questions or I need a mom type talk, that's where I go to, you know? Ooh, Mexican style chicken salad. That sounds so good. Not gonna lie, making me hungry. See, and that's what makes me so sad is we lose those that you're like, God damn, I've seen shittier people live into their 90s, and then taking all the kind, good people makes you question the world sometimes. We're really sorry to hear that, Ellen. It's terrible. We send lots of loves and hugs. I just had a friend that passed away about a week ago, but it's you're never ready for it, but at the same time, you're like you realize that like all of the time that you spent with them, you start to remember all the memories, and you're like glad that you have those memories, right? Like, I'm glad that I have those memories with the people that I care about, and that I have um and that I have those memories to be able to look at. My best friend used to take a lot of pictures and used to hate it. Used to hate it. Used to drive me nuts how many pictures she would take. But she passed away before my youngest was born, and I named my youngest after her. But now that she's not here, I'm grateful she took all those pictures, because now I have a collage of pictures over the years of being a kid all the way into adulthood when we had kids, with her, with my kids, with me, with my family, me with her son. Like I just have a litany of things that I wouldn't have because I didn't take pictures like that. I wasn't a picture taker all the time. I'm still not. But she was. She was always taking pictures. And even though it drove me bananas, I am glad. Speaking of bananas, I'm gonna make that bread today. But you know, I'm glad she did it. I am. I am super glad that she did it. Oh, yeah. See that? I mean, you're never ready for when it happens, but then you start thinking about all the memories, and you're glad to have them. You're the group mom. I don't think you're the oldest. We have a range of ages. It tells me actually they get analytics that tell me from age ranges. I'll have to go and look like what the oldest. I think it'll tell me in the analytics what the youngest versus what the oldest person is, but I'm pretty sure you're not the oldest. But you're still my surrogate mom. I still love you. Losing the fur babies are just like losing, a member of the family, because they are family, They are. Absolutely. Well, I just turned 21 again. Leah got me those socks that's for my birthday that say, I'm not 39, I'm 18 with 21 years experience. And I nearly died laughing reading them. It's a joke because I tell my kids every year that I'm 21 again. Don't question my age. I'm not 39, I am 21 every year for the rest of your life. And so my oldest, who just turned 21 on the 1st of December, said to me before my birthday, she said, oh, Mom, we're both going to be 21 this year. Isn't that crazy? It's like, you're a little wise ass. You get that from me, but you're a little wise ass. Like, yes, 21 forever. I was like, yeah, well, guess what, kid? It's your birthday. You're 21. There's no more birthdays to look forward to from here. This is it. Oh, I'm old. My soul is old, you know? Yep, 21. 21 forever. Oh, I'm so glad that my friend took that many pictures because I wouldn't have them. You know what I mean? I had children young as well, and so I'm glad that we have all those pictures. 46 going on 35. No, going on 21, girl. You're going on 21 always. Always 21. It's always 21. God damn it. My body feels old, just from like the meds and the new meds they have me on that are making me tired. They give me headaches, maybe nauseous. I'm not a fan, but this is the only one. The last one gave me worse side effects, so this is like the last one I can use. So I just have to suck it up. But pictures are important. Making memories is important because those are the things you're going to remember when someone is up. Not like us. I bet you freaking did out-rap everyone. I love this. I love it. Love it. No, Claire, because you're 21 too. Duh. All right. We're all 21, ladies. Duh. All of us. We are all 21. All right. All of us. we are all 21. All of us. All of us are 21. Okay. I'm going to wrap this up, guys, because I am hungry. I'm so hungry right now. I could eat this computer. I'm so hungry. But I enjoyed all of you today, as I always do. We have the Brian Walsh trial that we're covering. That starts again tomorrow. I do have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, but the stream will be up. We'll be ready. I'll be on my phone. I will have it with me. And on your way out, if you want to hit the like button, I would appreciate it. There's 617 of you watching. So even if you're watching from X, because that's total across 3 platforms, even if it's on X, you could come over to YouTube with the like button. I'd appreciate it. The channel would appreciate it. If you'd like to support the channel, there's different ways you can do so. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Revolut, Super Chat, Super Sticker, Super Thanks when the video is over. That's like a thing. I keep forgetting it's like a thing. We have a link that's in the chat pinned to the top. It's also in the description of the video that you can click on. You can enter any amount you want. You can leave any message you want. You can remain anonymous on any of those. It's also in the description of the video. And then we also have an Amazon wish list, which is in the description of the video. I keep forgetting to get on the wish list and put the couple things for each kid of mine and label them. I got to remember to do that. I've just been so busy that I feel like sometimes I don't even have a second to breathe. But for the rest of my Sunday, I am going to make myself food, crawl up in my bed, snuggle with my husband, and watch movies. That's what I'm going to do. So I hope everyone else has an amazing rest of their Sunday. And you guys know how to get in touch with me if you need me. twistedtragedies3@gmail. You can find me on X. You can find me on Facebook. Some of you have my number. You can always text me. We have a Discord, of course. Jesse does a great job. All my mods do a great job of sort of making sure everything is orderly and respectful and civil and kind. And I could not praise them more for the amazing job that they always do. So I will see you guys in the morning. Love your stinking faces, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.